It rained like there was no tomorrow here in Queens. I mean, it rained. But tomorrow has arrived. The rain has stopped, and there'll be baseball in Flushing tonight. At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Pittsburgh Pirates. Mets baseball is presented in HD by IOTV. Get your HD free with IOTV. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling with you tonight as the Mets wrap up a four-game series against the Pittsburgh Pirates, trying for their first home four-game sweep since 2003. The Mets found out today that Henry Mejia won't pitch again this year. He has a strained muscle in the rhomboid area near his shoulder blade on the right side. They'll wait till he's symptom-free before he throws again, but not a serious injury, and Mejia should be ready for next season with no problem at all. As for tonight's game, well, the Mets are going for a sweep in part because Angel Pagan seems to have gotten over the hump here in the later part of the season.
Well, a season of disappointment. One of the few bright stars. Angel Pagan got his opportunity with Carlos Beltran being out, and boy, he stuck his foot in that door. He has been phenomenal. The first Met outfielder since Roger Cedeno 11 years ago to steal over 30 bases or more. The last two ball games, 5 hits, 5 RBI. He comes to the ballpark. He cares. He works hard. He hustles everything out. He's really someone the Mets can look to for their future.
And today even played translator for Henry Mejia. He can have a job at the UN when he's done here. As for the pitchers tonight, Mike Pelfrey, coming off a very good outing against the Phillies, goes for win number 15.
It was the best I think he's looked in a couple of months. And win number 15 is very special for any pitcher. 20 is the magical number, but brilliant. 15 is outstanding. And if he can get there, he can call it a successful season. And he's going up against a young man. When the Pittsburgh Pirates made their fire sale of Nate McLouth, Nigel Morgan, Nate McLouth went to Atlanta. Charlie Morton came over to the Pittsburgh Pirates, and he's having historical struggles this year. After coming back from AAA, he's going to try to show Pittsburgh what he can do in the month of September.
So the Mets and Pirates will try and play around the raindrops tonight at Citi Field as they go for a four-game sweep. All the action coming up on SNY. From the base of Sunday at Citi Field following the Mets afternoon game against the Braves with the Mr. Met Dash for all kids 12 and under. For tickets, visit Mets.com or call 718-507-TIXX. Here's your Suzuki Around the Majors for tonight. Dan Johnson, couple of homers and all the RBIs in the Rays 4-3 win over the Yankees, puts Tampa Bay back in first place by a half game. Roy Halladay didn't pitch his best, but he got his 19th win. Raul Ibanez drove in a couple. Phillies won their fourth in a row, 10-5 over Florida to go 3 games up in the East. Matt Cain, 7 scoreless innings in the Giants' 2-1 win over the Dodgers. And this afternoon, the Diamondbacks beat the Reds behind fine pitching by Rodrigo Lopez, but Cincinnati's lead still 7.5 over St. Louis in the National League Central. Mike Pelfrey getting ready for his 30th start of the year and going for his 15th win. Mets and Pirates, first pitch coming up. Mike Pelfrey getting encouragement from the bullpen before he takes them out. There is more handshaking and fist bumping before games these days than I've ever seen before.
I've never seen that before either. When you would warm up, the relievers would not even look at you, but they had this thought in mind: have a good game and have a quick game, Ronnie, because I don't want to be in the game.
My arm's hanging today.
You used to walk underneath the tunnel.
That's right. Here's your Pirates starting lineup, brought to you by Ford, and John Russell trotting out the same unit for 4 straight days, trying to avoid a 4-game sweep. You might think he'd use some other personnel, but he's got the same lineup out there: Andrew McCutchen and Tabata and Walker and Jones, and you can see the rest. Charlie Morton, the Reading, Connecticut native, coming in from the bullpen, getting ready for his starting assignment.
Between the Alvarez's and the Mortons, they should have some Pittsburgh fans here.
Maybe.
There's 16 wins between his 2 starters tonight.
That's a nice one. That's like Tommy and Hank Aaron.
Actually 15, excuse me.
Well, Mike Pelfrey on the season, and we were talking about it in the open, 20 is the magical season for any pitcher, but 15 really signifies to yourself that you've had a pretty strong season. Mike, I think after having some of those woes earlier in the season, would love to finish strong his last 3 or 4 starts.
Really 3 different seasons for Pelfrey. There was the first 2.5 months when he was an all-star. Didn't make the all-star team, but certainly could have.
the month and a half when he couldn't get anybody out. And now this last portion of the season where he's been a little bit in and out, but at least he has stabilized his season.
Yeah, I think so, because he had a chance there of having just 2 seasons, one good and one bad.
And the Lexus Metzi defense. You know Mr. Davis can pick it over there. Anything he can get to, he's got sure hands. Tejada, of course, back in that lineup, playing every day. We like to see that. Reyes right on the other side. We're used to that. Duda back in the lineup. Pagan in center. Beltran sits out. Feliciano gets a start right, and Tolley gets a start behind the plate.
The news of the day concerning Henry Mejia and the strained rhomboid muscle in his shoulder blade. And I guess the news that came out of Henry's comments today before the game was that he originally felt it during the second inning of last night's game, not as bad. And then when he felt it again in the third, he felt it was time to shut it down.
Well, you know, we were having a discussion about that. Usually we see him out of the bullpen. He's throwing 95 or 96 miles an hour, and last night throwing 92. So we thought maybe he was just trying to back off a little and throw to spots, but obviously just had enough pain in there, not able to let it go.
The good news, I guess, twofold. One, it doesn't look like it's serious. He doesn't look like he's going to need surgery. The other is that it's not in the same spot as the shoulder problems that he had earlier this season, which were more rotator cuff related. But I guess it raises a larger question about Mejia and the violence of his delivery and whether he can sustain that for enough innings to be a starting pitcher in the majors.
Yeah, I think one of the things he's going to have to watch out to as he overdevelops that rhomboid area during the offseason, he's got to take care of that other area in the shoulder that he had problems with.
Andrew McCutchen leads off against Mike Pelfrey. First pitch of the night is in for a call strike. 12-minute rain delay at the start, but underway in good order. Certainly there's the chance of more heavy rain later, but these two teams will hope to play around it and through it as McCutchen bluffs the bunt, takes a strike, and Pelfrey quickly ahead 0-2. Mike at 14-9 on the season, 3.89 ERA, 7 1/3 stellar innings against the Phillies on Saturday. Did not walk a batter. And really kept the ball down in the zone in that game against Philadelphia.
Yeah, and that's always the key for Mike. I know that he likes to throw that four-seam fastball, but right across the knees, inside and outside, is his key.
2-2 to McCutchen with Jose Tabata on deck. Pelfrey made a start against the Pirates about 4 weeks ago. Pitched a very good game in Pittsburgh. McCutchen rolls one right out to Reyes, and that's the first out of the night. So 1 out and nobody on. And now Tabata, who is just 1 for 13 in this series, but I don't know about you guys, but he impresses me with his all-around game.
He takes good at-bats, and I didn't know he was that good of an outfielder. He really shows some good defensive speed.
Hitting at 301 on the year. He's only hit 4 home runs, hit one of those against Johan Santana in Pittsburgh when the Mets were there in August. And they think that Tabata is going to develop more power as he gets a little older. So one of the good young pieces the Pirates appear to have in place. Slow ground ball, tough play for Wright, makes that bare hand pickup, and he got him at first base. Beautiful play by David Wright for the second out.
Well, we've seen David over the years improve at third base, and this is the area where he's improved the most. He's really become extremely proficient over there on this fielding bunts barehanded and with the accurate throw.
And you have to be reminded on that slippery dirt and the slippery turf, still able to get that accurate throw off.
Getting a wet baseball in those hands too. You had time to wipe it clean.
Grounds crew had to do a lot of work on the field. It just poured like you can't even imagine for about 20 minutes here.
Well, the Met ground crew is just stellar. And they've always done a terrific job. Even back in my day, they had infield. I totally trusted that infield at Shea.
This field, which drains incredibly well, and standing water on the warning track in front of the third base dugout that looked like a river.
Yeah.
And it took quite a bit of work to make that disappear. They had to put a lot of drying agent on the infield to soak up moisture there, even though the tarp had been on the field. 1-1 to Neil Walker, the switch hitter from Pittsburgh, who's gone 0 for 10 in this series after coming into the series with an 18-game hitting streak. That's on the outside corner. 1-2.
Again, Pelfrey working quick again. This seems to be really the relation that he has. When he's pitching well, he's working quickly. And in that period you talked about, that month and a half, he slowed it down.
Popped up behind third. Long run in for Duda, and he gets there to end the inning. So Pelfrey sends him down 1-2-3, and the Mets come to bat in the bottom with no score. Here's the Mets starting lineup tonight, brought to you by Geico. Night off for Carlos Beltran. So Jesus Feliciano gets a call in right field, and Angel Pagan moves over to center. Lucas Duda and Josh Tolley both back in the lineup against the right-hander tonight after sitting the last two nights.
From Joel Barrow High School in Reddington, Connecticut is Charlie Morton. Reading, Connecticut, sorry. Came over in the Nate McLeod deal. 46 games started, 101 balls, base on balls, 150 strikeouts.
Jose Reyes, 4 for 12 in this series, riding a 7-game hitting streak. Hit his 10th home run of the year last night.
89 hits, RJ, in what, 54 innings?
Ouch. 14 home runs. That's
Let's just say it's not a formula for success.
Yeah, 14 home runs, Keith, in a regular season with 35 starts. That's near the 60 mark.
Now, Morton began the year with the Pirates, as you look at Jesus Feliciano on deck. He went on the disabled list in late May with shoulder fatigue, and when he was ready to come back, they optioned him to the minors. So he was not in the Pirates rotation for the better part of 3 months. He's made 3 starts since coming back. He's done a little better, but his ERA is still over 8 in these 3 starts. His last time out was probably his best. He pitched in Cincinnati last Saturday, gave up 3 runs in 6 1/3 innings. So a little better performance for him.
He's got good run on his fastball away. I don't think he's learned so far in his young career to pitch inside to left-handed hitters.
Backing off is Jones, and Morton gets over to cover for the first out. Reyes retired, 1 away.
The Coors Light Pittsburgh Pirate defense, well, we've seen 3 games, and this is not a very good defensive ball club. There's not a whole lot of range out there on the infield or in the outfield, a little slightly better. Boy, oh boy, they've made errors in this ball game, and then across the ball games, they just really not look sharp in the field at all.
So 1 out, here's Jesus Feliciano, 14th game that he started for the Mets. 31-year-old rookie has 1 at bat in this series, and he has a base hit, .278 for the year. Just a routine night off for Carlos Beltran, who, despite hitting the center field fence hard last night, was okay. We were concerned about his shoulder and head snapping near that wall, particularly in the wake of the Jason Bay injury, but he was all right. Out in left field, Jose Tabata reels it in, and Feliciano retired for the second out.
I was really concerned about how Angel Pagan would feel today because he got that cleat caught in the fence. But he's, of course, fine. Great shape as Angel, strong as an ox.
He really has had a superb year. When you think about the fact that coming out of spring training, the Mets had him sharing the job with Gary Matthews Jr., who actually got the opening day start over Angel. It didn't take long for Angel to establish himself, and in what has been his really the only season in his career where he's been an everyday player for 6 months, he has continued to perform well.
I think there's a lot of people who would forget about that. They think that because Beltran wasn't ready, that Pagan's been in center field since day one. That was not the truth. He had to kick that tore down once he got a shot.
Popped up in foul ground. Alvarez chasing near the stands, and he just runs out of room as it lands in the corner of that well-used tarp. You know, you think back to spring training, and it's really a good point because we spend all spring training every year thinking about who's going to make the 25-man roster, who's going to be in the opening day lineup, who's going to be in the opening day rotation. Think about the number of players that the Mets brought north from Port St. Lucie who have disappeared. Whether Mike Jacobs or Gary Matthews Jr. or Frank Catalanato or John Maine. The list is almost endless.
R.A. Dickey, one of the first cuts.
I mean, over the course of the season, you're going to use a lot more than 25 players. In the case of the Pirates, they've already used 51. It's haven't quite reached that number.
It's like a football roster.
Off the corner, and it's 3-1.
So if you're at home and you're saying to yourself, how does this young man, 1-11 with a 9 ERA, he's throwing the fastball 94, 95 miles an hour.
Pagan rips one into right, and he's got a base hit.
That could be one of the reasons right there. Fastball right down the pipe.
Well, 3-1, 2 outs.
I agree.
Yeah. You're hoping it finds the glove, but it didn't here. A little late sink on that ball, but it's a lazy sink. A little out in front. Good point, Keith. There's two different kinds of sink. There's a sink that the batter does not see, and it's so late that you top it, roll it over. And then there's one that you can see the path of the sink and adjust your bat accordingly.
I always said a lazy sinker is like an airplane that banks and comes in for a strafe, and they always see those squadrons. That's the kind of curveball you like to see. That's the kind of sinker you like to see.
There's David Wright. David 3 for 11 in this series. So from a pitcher standpoint, as far as the way ball's released, what's the difference between a late-breaking sinker and a lazy sinker?
Well, a lot of times getting on top of the baseball instead of getting on the side of the baseball. On the side of the baseball, you have the lazy sink. When on the top of the baseball, the ball will really dive late. And that's why Mel Stottlemyre would always catch us pitchers in the 80s in the bullpen, because he would watch and go, hey, listen, it's a lazy sink, so you got to change it a little bit. And he used to change your grip and move your thumb up, all different things to get that sink, where Mel used to say, if I'm having a hard time catching it, then that's a good pitch.
So he wanted his thumb to be bruised.
That's right. He didn't mind. Mel was the perfect pitching coach for that young pitching staff. He became a father figure for all of us.
Oh, I think Mel would have been successful with any. He was just a solid guy, carrying, and he knew his stuff.
And he was successful with the Mets and again with the Yankees.
But it showed he could do the job a couple of different ways with the young pitching staff, and then have a more established older pitching staff with some veterans that he had to work with also.
Plus, he could play the heck out of hearts. He's a great heart player.
Well, that's one of the keys for a pitching coach. You know that.
Up and in to right, and it's 2-0. I thought coaches didn't play cards with the players.
Well, no. The coaches, he played cards with the coaches usually. In a rain out or a rain delay or something, he might jump in a game.
On an airplane flight.
Incredible.
A lot of guys have played cards on the team.
Incredible sweet tooth. He used to always try to bribe him in spring training with what trips you would make just by the gummy bears you would give him.
There goes Pagan, and Wright fouls it off.
Umpire got it right in the chin.
Todd Titchener behind the plate. Coming at you.
Oh.
Left to the jaw.
David with the toe tap and just been tardy. Very tardy.
Todd Titchener with the plate tonight. Mike Everett, the acting crew chief at first base, with Adrian Johnson and Andy Fletcher rounding out the crew. Pagan was running on the 2-0 pitch. Now it's 2-1.
You always have to watch when you've had a rain delay, or if it's raining at all, if you're a base runner. If you go in standing up, sometimes that bag, Keith, when it gets very slippery, you can slip right off the bag.
Absolutely.
In the mud.
He's already had to get a towel a couple of times to get himself dried off after diving back into the bag.
These guys wear their pants so long, so it accumulates a lot of mud and
He's given up 11 stolen bases in 13 tries. Throws that slider low and away, and it's 3-1 to Wright.
You see right there, two successive hitters at 3-1 count. 2-1 trying to go with that slider. It wasn't close. That's how you develop into a good pitcher, being able to throw a secondary pitch behind in the count.
Fastball away.
Pagan runs, and Wright fouls it off. Well, the Pirate coaching staff has been on Charlie Morton to throw his fastball more. They feel as though he has a quality fastball, and that when he gets in a pinch, he wants to try and make people miss with his breaking ball.
Well, a lot of times what happens for a lot of these pitchers, they come up through the ranks striking out the world, embarrassing hitters, and you just don't do that up here. You have to recognize what kind of pitcher you are. He's got good sink. Use that sink to get in and out of these at-bats quicker.
Pagan set to run, 3-2 to Wright, and he lifts one to right field. Plenty of room for Bowker. And that retires the side. A hit and one left after one, no score. Selection of official gear, including the latest apparel, nostalgic memorabilia, and authentic classics for the whole family. Get your gear from the official source, the Mets.com shop. Accept no substitutes. As John Russell accepts no substitutes and keeps running the same lineup out there every day for a team that's now lost 97 games. Garrett Jones leads off and takes a strike.
I was hoping the young right-handed hitter would get in at bat.
Siriaco?
Yeah, I was hoping he'd get a start just to watch him for an entire game.
Lastings Millich hasn't gotten off the bench at all except for one pinch hitting assignment. Andy LaRoche has been pinned to the bench. Alex Presley, the young left-hand hitting outfielder who got a start in Cincinnati over the weekend, has only appeared once in the series. You'd think that the Pirates would want to look at their young players as much as possible. Now, granted, they have a bunch of young guys in the lineup, including Jones, who lifts one to left, and Duda's got it for the first out. So 1 away. The Pirates, by the way, as Pedro Alvarez comes up, if they lose tonight, they will fall to 50 games under 500.
Alvarez is getting more fans as we go along.
Is that a Pedro Alvarez fan club?
They're all clapping. They changed.
Oh, it's the Horace Mann folks.
Nice.
Okay. Nice that they could make it out to see their alum. Alvarez 1 for 10 in this series, and his first major league triple in the game last night.
Part of you that has to press a little bit when you're playing in front of the home folks, I would think.
Particularly when you're young.
Yeah.
Hit well out to left center field. Pagan with a long run, and he won't get there. It's to the base of the wall. And Alvarez cruises into second base with a 1-out double. So that'll make the Horace Mann people happy.
Nice.
Well, you got to have this approach off Pelfrey. He likes to run that fastball away. It's meant to be in. But you got to take Mike, your lefty, in that gap. You beat him out there on the outside corner a few times, then you can look in.
So the Pirates have their first base runner of the night. And now John Bowker, the right fielder, 2 for 7 in this series. And he takes ball 1. Here's the inside pitch on Mike Pelfrey, brought to you about the Xerox business of baseball. Xerox, ready for real business.
He did a great job against the Philadelphia Phillies, pitching those tough lefties inside. Finished strong. He had that weak part at the middle of the season. He wants to finish strong here in September. And a split finger, I want to see him through the month of September not telegraph that pitch and throw it a little harder.
There inside to the left-hander. He misses. 2-1 to Bowker. Ronnie Cedeno, the shortstop, is on deck. Little pop-up. Back goes Reyes. He's not going to get there, and it drops for a hit. Overrun by Pagan in center field, and that'll allow Alvarez to come in and score the game's first run. Alvarez was all set to stop at third, but when Pagan couldn't field it cleanly, Alvarez scoots home, and it's 1-0 Pittsburgh.
Well, I think with the rain, the heavy rain, Angel thought it would take a little higher bounce. Oh, it took a hop to the right.
You know, when you get it off the end of the bat, it's going to have some spin on it.
No error on the play. It's a base hit for Bowker, a run batted in. Bowker's 12th run batted into the season. So for the second straight night, the Pirates jump out. Last night they had a 5-0 lead before the Mets rebounded and won. Third time this season the Mets have come from 5 runs down to win, which is the most that any Mets team has ever come from 5 runs down to win in a single season. Good sinker by Pelfrey, 1-1 to Cedeno.
Well, they're having a tough year, but that is a nice road uni, isn't it, Keith? Pittsburgh?
Yes, I like it better than their home, that's for sure.
There goes Bowker, hit and run play. Davis will only have a play at first, and that's the second out as Bowker moves up. John Russell putting on a hit and run. We have not seen a lot of from any team this season.
No. It's just a lost art.
But I think we'll see more in the coming years. Now that home runs are going down and run scoring is going down.
I hope so.
It all makes sense, doesn't it?
It's a very exciting part of the game. It's a beautiful play.
Mets will walk Chris Snyder, the number 8 hitter, intentionally, and get to the pitcher Morton, who is hitless this year.
Well, I don't know if we're going to see more hit and runs, guys. I think we talk about the umpires being scrutinized. Managers are scrutinized now more than ever, and I think there's a bit with some managers of reticence to go out there and hit and run a lot.
Now, do you think that's because hitters are less able to put the ball in play and are more likely to swing and miss than they used to?
Yeah, I think the art of the offensive player and the hit and run is not as good. And do I think that can come back? Obviously it can. But, there's a lot of hitters that are coming up from the major leagues now that are not doing a lot of hit and run, Gary, in the minor leagues. They are bailing and wailing, swinging hard.
But I guess that begs the question, why wouldn't they be taught in the minor leagues?
No.
Here's Charlie Morton, 0 for 16 this year with 2 out and 2 on.
You can work on it, and I think it's a lost art. The kids don't do it anymore. I think that if you started putting it in your arsenal and making them hit and run and start doing it in spring training, I think they might find it enjoyable. I love to hit and run.
What's the most important thing, other than obviously putting your bat on the ball and putting it in play? What's the most important thing for a hitter to know on a hit and run play?
Hit and run, and what's the most important thing you better know is you've got to swing the bat and make contact. But you've got to shorten up. It's when you hit and run, you're not going to be swinging for the downs. You're looking to hit the ball the opposite field, because when the runner's running, if I'm a left-hand hitter, the shortstop's going to cover 99% of the time. It's a right-hand hitter, just the opposite. They've got to go to the opposite field. And you got to hit the ball on the ground or a line drive. And it's fun. It's absolutely fun. So there's a lot of hitters today that have, we've always talked about it, one like computer swings. Pat Burrell comes to mind. It's the same swing. You can't hit and run with Pat Burrell. You would never hit and run with Pat Burrell. But a Feliciano you could hit and run with. You could hit and run with a Tejada if you hit line drives.
Josh Tolley.
You could hit and run with Ike Davis if it was late in the game and you're down a run. You could do it with him. He's got back control and goes the other way. You can do it with David Wright.
Morton down swinging on the fastball, so Pelfrey limits the damage to 1 run. 1-0 Pirates. Here's your Mets upcoming schedule. Remember, all Mets games on SNY are available in HD, presented by IOTV. If you're not near a TV, listen to every Mets game on Sports Radio 66 WFAN. The fading Braves are in for 3 over the weekend. John Neese against Tommy Hanson in the series opener tomorrow. And the Mets go to Florida and Philadelphia before coming home to play Milwaukee and Washington the final week of the season. Ike Davis 2 for 10 in this series, hitting at .261 for the year. Leading off for the Mets in the home second against Charlie Morton. It'll be Davis, then Tolle and Duda, 3 left-hand hitters against Morton, who has given up a .354 batting average against left-hand hitters. Then again, he's given up a .355 batting average against right-hand hitters.
Equal opportunity employer. I just think this is a pretty good matchup for Ike tonight. This guy throws a lot of fastballs, throws a lot of pitches right down the old pipo.
Pipo?
Your Spanish is improving.
3-0 to Davis. By the way, there was some neat camera work on your part last night.
Oh, that was. It's not easy to keep that camera steady.
And ball 4 to Davis, so a 4-pitch walk.
And there, I was there. There he is.
That's Keith and his camera, which you made your camera.
Camera number 7.
He said, come on, do it again.
Oh, yeah, right.
He's out in the rain.
Well, I think the one thing that you proved last night is that it's not as easy as it looks.
I needed my reading glasses. I couldn't read the viewfinder. What is it called, Al? That thing in front of you look at.
What's viewfinder.
Viewfinder? And I was constantly telling Bill, am I in focus? So I needed my reading glasses.
Next time we'll send you fully armed. Josh Tolle, the batter, and he takes it wide. That's 5 in a row out of the strike zone for Morton, and that'll draw him a visit.
The camera was also, I guess I would call it nose heavy. It's got that big thing sticking out, and it's like you can't say the lens. You can't call it top heavy. I call it nose heavy, and it wants to drop. And you've got to.
So how do you hold it up?
Well, you got those things. The tough ball. How do these guys follow the ball?
See, Keith's not holding anything. How's his camera stay?
Yeah, but just try to move it.
I see.
And then keep it in focus if you're going. It's murder. You got Bill Webb in the truck screaming at you.
See, that's the part that I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear what Webby was saying to you while you were trying to focus.
I was so focused on staying in focus, my camera, that Bill wanted me to pan off to the pitcher, and I was on the tight shot of the hitter, and I didn't even hear him because I was so much concentrating on staying focused. And Bill had to kind of shout in my ear, Keith, the pitcher. Pan to the pitcher.
Yeah, if we heard what Webby was saying to Keith, we'd have a little FCC problem.
That's probably true.
But it was fun.
Well, I'm just happy that Bill used your shots right out of the box.
I felt like the Pied Piper walking around the stadium. All the kids were following me around. I had one kid in particular that was just ripping off all of my statistics, my career statistics. And then a year with a Met, what I did the whole time.
Really?
He was following me. And he got it all right.
You're better than the Pied Piper because you had kids following you. The Pied Piper had rats following you.
Ronnie would have loved it. I had to shake hands with a lot of people.
Oh.
Big night for the Purell.
That's right.
2-2 to Tolle with nobody out. And Davis at first. And Josh lifts one to center. And McCutchen barely has to move. That's the first out of the inning. Here's the playoff picture in the National League. Both the Phillies and the Braves are off tonight. The Braves are coming here. The Phillies are going home to play Washington over the weekend. Cincinnati lost this afternoon, but still 7.5 up on the Cardinals. Out west, San Diego playing in St. Louis, starting a series tonight, while the Giants conclude their series at home against the Dodgers with first place on the line. Colorado goes to L.A. to start a series tomorrow night. There's Lucas Duda taking ball 1. Duda 1 for 33 in his major league career. Last night honored as the Mets organizational minor league player of the year. And Duda hits one to shallow center. Long run in for McCutchen, but he gets there. And there are 2 out. By the way, Kevin had conversations on the air last night with several of the Mets minor league award winners, and those were some very impressive kids.
They really were. New and Heiss, Puello, and Cahoon was, he's ready for our job as soon as he plays 15, 16 years. He was great interview. I thought it was interesting just to see all those young guys on the field yesterday with the players, and you could distinguish them because they had just their shorts and T-shirts on and taking batting practice, and what a thrill that must have been for them.
That's the first time I've ever seen that, by the way, having the minor league award winners come in and take batting practice and shag fly balls and take ground balls with the big leaguers, and I think it's a great idea.
It is a great idea. Keith wouldn't know this, but Kevin Elster was our #1 pick one year, and the batting practice was going to be just about over, and they told all of us stay on the field because Kevin Elster was going to hit with the last group. And as soon as Ellie came in the box, because he was a #1 pick and because our clubhouse was extremely cruel, we all left the field. So he was there by himself with the batting practice pitcher. No one to shag.
It's something that you can do, Gare. It's something you can do when you're out of it. And you wouldn't want to do it if your team is in a stretch run, obviously.
Right. 1-1 to Tejada. It takes it up and away. Rubin 4 for 8 in this series. And after a stretch where he didn't get off the Pines, now it appears that he's going to play just about every day the rest of the way. It's amazing what one good day can do for you. And he lays off that slider, and now it's 3-1.
Now there's a classic example. You know, Charlie Morton's struggling this year. We don't have to care about the numbers. The number there is Ruben Tejada, who cannot hit a ball out of the ballpark, or maybe he can. A 2-1 count, you're going to throw a slider to Ruben Tejada when you throw 94 miles an hour?
I agree.
Come on. That just does not make any sense. And if I'm the catcher and I put fastball down and he shakes me off, I put another fastball down. Come on, bring it, kid.
And that's ball 4, and so Tejada's on with the second walk of the inning. And that'll get Pelfrey to the plate with 2 on.
Boy, it's Excedrin headache number 2010.
Been a long year for the Pirates. I mentioned that if they lose tonight, they'll go 50 games under 500. They're 48-97 right now. The Pirates have not been 50 games under 500 since 1953, when they finished the year with 50 wins and 104 losses.
And their road record is sitting on 15-58.
Nice stop by Jones. And over to cover is Morton to end the inning. So the Mets get a couple of walks and leave 2. 1-0 Pirates.
Well, Bobby Ojeda is sitting in the studio and ready to talk to you via live chat right now at sny.tv. So log on and chat with Bobby O and exchange ideas, because, you know, Bobby has a lot of strong opinions.
And he'll tell it to you straight. I'll tell you, you better get your question ready.
McCutcheon lines one into Hata, picks it off for the first out. So McCutcheon hit it hard. He's retired. One out of the third, and now Jose Tabata with a slow ground ball, and David Wright made a fine bare hand play to throw him out of the first inning. I don't want to open up a can of worms, but they've never asked us to do a live chat during the game. I guess they figure we're busy. 1-1 the top of that.
We have other things we have to do. We have to have dinner with our fans. You know,
That's true.
There's other things that we do.
That was a lot of fun last night.
Right.
We met some very nice people who actually paid money to have dinner with us for charity.
They were credited as soon as they met us.
Well, they knew it was a good cause.
Yeah, of course.
I guess the food was, you know, good.
Yeah, solid.
2-2 to Tabata with Neil Walker on deck. Tabata acquired from the Yankees. Chases a pitch out of the strike zone, and Pelfrey has his second strikeout of the night. So 2 up and 2 down in the third.
Well, you have a young team, a free swinging team, and when you have that and get ahead of them, you expand the strike zone. Done very well there by Pelfrey.
By beating the Phillies in his last start, Pelfrey has gone back over 500 for his career. He was above early this season when he got off to the great start. Fell back below, but now at 42 and 41 for his career. And, you know, remember, he began his career by losing his first 7 decisions. And got a lot of counsel that year, as I recall, from Tom Glavine, who related to him his experience of going 7 and 17 his freshman year.
Tom didn't have his good changeup then, first couple of years of his career. More of a fastball curveball pitcher. Remember facing Glavine, Keith?
I took him to the bridge on one of those curveballs.
That's why he gave it up.
He didn't have the changeup then. He was just a hard sinker in, big curveball. And he left one over the plate once. So I never faced Tom when he became the honed and polished professional that he was. Got to take advantage of those rookies.
Walker flying to left his first trip, and that misses badly, and it's 3-1.
Now, I've said it before, and this is not a disparaging comment to any of those, to Greg Maddux or Tom Glavine, but Smoltz was the one that got my attention the first time I faced him. I went, oh my gosh, if this guy ever gets his slider over, he's going to be murder.
By the way, he did. Pagan barely has to move. Walker's retired. 1-2-3. Go the Pirates in the top of the third. They still lead 1-0. A trivia question for tonight. The last 20-game winner for the Pirates was?
I think I have it.
He played against us, didn't he?
I think he did.
Jose Reyes leads off in the home third.
Forget his name.
Takes a strike.
There's two that could be the possibility. Although I think the right-hander never won 20.
I think the lefty did.
Yes, tall lefty, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Good breaking ball by Morton, and it's 0-2 to Reyes. Now the grounds crew is at the ready because the radar says that more rain is on its way.
It's Pete Flynn, man on the right, been here. Well, he started in the Polo Grounds, did Pete.
Easy play for Walker, and Reyes retired, 1 out. Well, Pete's become more famous as a driver.
That's right.
He was Paul McCartney's driver for the original Beatles concert, and again for the last concert at Shea.
Who do you got to drive? Did you got anyone from Liverpool? Nope. Someone from Dublin. Okay, that's good enough.
Bill Deacon is now the chief of the grounds crew here, and they do a marvelous job.
Pete's great, isn't he? Still kept his brogue all these years.
Jesus Feliciano flying out his first time up. By the way, I want to pass along best wishes to another very important person here at Citi Field. Pete Corderi is under the weather. He is part of a wonderful family that cooks the meals for the players back in their kitchen in the Mets clubhouse. And he is home and resting and watching the game tonight, and just want to pass along our best wishes. The entire team is wishing for a very speedy recovery.
And this entire booth.
Yeah, just
Exactly.
great people.
Well, you know, Teresa, her daughter, will occasionally sneak us some food.
That's right. Especially on spring training.
I don't know if she's supposed to, but she does an unbelievable job.
Well, you just shot the clown.
Yeah, well. 2-1 the count to Feliciano. Slow ground ball, and Cedeno moves in to grab it. 2 out. So Charlie Morton and his 1-11 record and his 9+ ERA has allowed just 1 hit so far. Charlie Morton, in his career, over his last 15 road starts, is 1-12. His only win, though, was a 4-hit shutout at Wrigley Field in his last start last season. So you never know.
I mean, I'm going to repeat myself again, but you watch him throw, and he has all the earmarks to be a good pitcher. It looks a little bit to me like a young Carl Pavano in the way he throws.
Pavano's going for his 17th win tonight.
If you watch him, see how he kind of rocks back and forth to kind of generate some movement on the fastball. That's very much like Pavano.
He's got potential.
Yeah.
He does have potential.
All he has to do is grow the mustache. He'll be all set.
Then he'd be saying, what would Charlie do?
Pagan has the only Met hit, a single to right in the first inning. And Angel scoots away, 1-2. David looks like a steel worker when he stands on deck with that lead pipe. It's UConn football on SNY. Catch the Huskies as they hit the road and head to Philly to take on the Temple Owls. UConn at Temple. Coverage begins with City pregame Saturday at 11:30 a.m. on SNY.
I like UConn's chances this week.
You can handicap UConn football?
Not handicapping. I like the chances for a
okay.
W.
Don lifts one. That'll land untouched. Right on the target. Now, when we spoke about UConn a couple of days ago, you didn't even know that they had played a game.
He did his research.
They opened up against Michigan.
So they're a little more up to date now.
I knew they played Michigan. There's a World Series jacket. Look at that. Cool.
Beautiful.
He goes by the nicknames. He figures a Husky can beat an owl. That's what he's going for.
In most fights.
Have a tough time with a Wolverine.
And curveball pulled foul. As was the case here on Monday night, the fans from the Promenade, the top level here at Citi Field, have been invited to come downstairs and join the fans on the lower level.
Very nice.
Tell you what, anybody who was trying to get to the ballpark tonight at about the time that most people would drive to the ballpark, they had to drive through a hurricane. Pagan goes down swinging. First strikeout for Charlie Morton, and he has a 1-2-3 inning. We've played 3 now at Citi Field, 1-0 Pirates. Garrett Jones leads off the 4th inning and bounces one foul. Jones flying to left his first time up. Pirates with a 1-0 lead. A 2nd inning run driven in by John Bowker. The only scoring against Mike Pelfrey, who's trying tonight for his 15th win of the season. One to Jones, who burst on the scene last year as a power hitter for the Pirates and got off to a tremendous start the first week of this season.
When he started out in the Minnesota Twins organization, was traded over because they didn't have any room for him in that crowded outfield, and that's where he was before. Now he's moved to first base.
He could be playing first base for the Twins right now.
That's right, because Justin Morneau has been out with that concussion all season long. But Minnesota Twins can win with the fewest amount of stars in their lineup of any team I've ever seen.
Toward the middle of the diamond, and Jones has a base hit. So Garrett Jones has his 6th hit in this series, and the Pirates have the leadoff man on for the first time against Pelfrey. Well, the Twins won without Morneau last year.
They did.
With Michael Kadire moving over to first, which he's done again this year.
But they cannot. In the playoffs, you can sometimes pitch around now a little bit when Morneau's not in the lineup. There's so much more dangerous when he's at his best. But they're 41-16 since the All-Star break.
And they're playing the White Sox tonight in Chicago. Beat them last night 9-3 and have a chance to just about clinch the thing.
Yeah.
They're 8 games ahead now. Here's Alvarez, who doubled and scored the only run of this game. And he takes a strike from Pelfrey.
When Pelf is at his best, when he can pitch those left-handers in and make them conscious of that pitch in, then that split finger and fastball sinker away becomes so much more effective and get into a place where he can get a double play.
Pelfrey set a Mets record for double play grounders 2 years ago when he got 29 of them, and he's closing in on that mark again this year. He did enables Pelfrey to be effective, even though he's a pitcher who will give up a lot of hits, which he certainly has this year. Only 6 pitchers in the league have given up more hits. Well, that's a little hard to judge because you look at Pelfrey's season, and there was that one balloon in the middle of the year when he just couldn't get anybody out.
And it was right when the Mets needed him most.
I think in 40 innings he had, what, 80 base runners or something like that.
Oh boy, they're going to double up inside. 3 out of 4 in.
It's dangerous. 2-1.
I don't mind it.
Finds the corner 2-2.
If you're going to do that and you miss in. You don't miss out over the plate.
They painted right there.
Yep. Good pitch. He's got that movement that will kind of freeze a hitter. You can see where his little roast fanny kind of popped out there with enough movement to get him to freeze.
2-2 to Alvarez. And again, he comes in
4 out of 5.
Full count.
And good going by Mike, because what did Alvarez do in his last at bat? Hit a ball out over the plate into the gap in left center.
So now you're going to finally go away on 3-2.
3-2 away. If you make your pitch, you should not be able to hit it hard.
Once again,
back inside. The runner goes, and the pitch is ball 4. And Alvarez is on with a walk. So the Pirates have the first 2 men on here in the 4th.
Unless you're a real accomplished pitcher who makes his money by hitting spots, the 3-2 pitch in is not a great pitch because you're taught since the beginning of time, especially righty to a left-handed hitter, if you miss with that pitch, you miss for a ball. And on a 3-2 pitch, there's no room to work with. So why not take the middle of the plate away and down? Because that way, even if you miss a little over the middle of the plate, you're down and you have a chance of the guy at least to put it in play.
What's interesting about that last sequence of pitches, Gary, which was 4 out of 5 fastballs inside, and really one splitter away was bad away, was that Alvarez took him to left center field on a double and a pitch away the first time up. Now that might, to me, is a little bit overkill. As a hitter, my next approach off of Pelfrey, I might look in for what first pitch, but I'm still going to be sitting on that outside part of the plate on him. I'm a left-hand hitter.
So now John Bowker, who popped a single into shallow center to drive in the game's only run. Drives one out to right center. Pagan with a long run back to the track, and he slides, and he makes a beautiful catch. The runner at first base is going to be doubled off. Alvarez is out. It's a double play. A spectacular catch by Pagan, and the Mets turn it into 2.
What a play by Angel there. Not very good base running by Alvarez. You cannot do that. You've got to be on the other side of second base and holding. That's poor base running. But that's just one terrific catch.
Wow.
Look at the expression of the guys in the bullpen. And
doing a little directing.
Looks like a wow followed by a 1. So a runner at second with 2 out. And Ronnie Cedeno takes a strike. 8-4-3 on the double play. Just a splendid play by Pagan, who is at a Gold Glove caliber season at whatever position he's played in the outfield.
Well, Pirates are at it again.
Cedeno takes one to the right field line. Feliciano can't make the diving play, and it goes to the corner. In to score is Jones. Around second and on his way to third, Cedeno, and he's in standing with an RBI triple. 2-0 Pittsburgh.
Well, there's a case right there. Alvarez just cost his ball club a run. Should be 3-0, 1 out, runner on no outs, runner on third. And as I said, nice effort by Feliciano there. With 2 outs, it's okay. It's okay to just spread out for it and just try to make the play. It's going to be extra bases anyway.
You're right, Keith. And when a right-handed hitter hits that ball down the line, wherever you think it's going to land, it's going to be 5 feet further towards the line because of the slice.
I'll tell you what. If I'm Chris Snyder, I'm hitting the 8th hole. I'm feeling good about myself.
Well, he's a 210 hitter, but he has a lot of power, so the Mets taking no chances with Snyder for the second straight time. They walked him intentionally in the second and again here in the 4th. So after Pelfrey got the benefit of an amazing play by Pagan that turned into 2 outs, he gives up the run-scoring triple to Cedeno, and now will face the pitcher Morton with first and third.
Nice. Look at that. Well,
it's a nice little scrape.
Yeah, that stings right now.
It's going to sting worse when you get a little bit of that soap on there. Ammonia, clean it up. But this is just
scraped it on the warning track
right there. Yep, this is a terrific catch. I mean, we've seen so much of this from Angel. Can't say enough. I don't think Beltran with his knees gets to that ball.
No, I don't think so. Not the Beltran that we've seen this year.
You're right.
And I think, it leads to the question of what the Mets do next year. If Beltran is back with this ball club, is Pagan the center fielder, or does Beltran hang on to that job?
Or does Beltran heal and get his old speed back?
That's a good question. And at what point will you know that? Feliciano makes the play on Morton's fly ball to end the inning. The Pirates tack on a run on Cedeno's triple. Could have been a whole lot worse, but for this marvelous play by Angel Pagan. 2-0 Pirates.
Replay. Shut up.
Get to Citi Field as the series with the NL East rival Braves begins tomorrow night at 7:10 p.m. Get your seats direct from the Mets at Mets.com or call 718-507-TIXX. Let's answer our AT&T trivia question. We asked you who was the Pirates' last 20-game winner. I think it was John Smiley.
John Smiley, 21-6. Oh, what was it? Yep, 28.
1991, right before he defected and wound up in Minnesota.
That's right. Look up my stats on John Smiley, please. I hit him hard early, then he got me out late.
You wouldn't have asked unless it was pretty good.
No, I hit him early, then he changed the program. He got tough, and he was a difficult mark. I was one of those guys that I never enjoyed hitting off of, and I had some success. Don't ask me why. He threw hard, heavy ball.
David Wright flied to right field his first time up. Smiley won 20 in 91. The year before, Doug Drabek won 20 and won the Cy Young. And last night, Doug Drabek's son, Kyle, made his Major League debut and pitched well for Toronto.
He did. He got the loss, but 6 innings, 3 runs. Very commendable effort by Kyle.
Lost to one of the best teams in baseball for the last month and a half, the Baltimore Orioles.
That's right.
26-15 since Buck Showalter took over. Wright bounces one near the bag, and Alvarez with a tough pickup throws out his opposite number, one away. Do or die pickup by Alvarez for the first out.
Thought he had a chance to get in front of this ball. Yes, he did, and he chose not to. Very dangerous.
But again, this is the way third basemen are being taught now.
I understand.
With a bigger glove, play the ball off to the side.
You see the rain coming down a little bit. But not to worry, folks. We can play and broadcast in this weather.
We can, yeah.
We can broadcast in this weather? Oh, you're such a gamer.
Like Davis fouls one back. You want to go man the camera tonight?
Keith, there's one person out here with a microphone in the elements. It's not you, by the way.
Would you like an umbrella, Kevin? I see you there.
Where are you?
I'm under the camera well.
Oh, I see you.
The only problem is that the rain's getting in my coffee. I don't have a lid. That might spoil the chemical balance. A little worried about that. Keith, great job last night, man.
On the camera? Are you kidding?
I thought it was great.
Boy. Follow the bouncing ball like Lawrence Welk.
We had Dramamine up here. We were fine.
Dave Freed has done the research, by the way. 3 for 12 against Johnson.
Yeah, I got him early. He was tough, I'm telling you. I didn't face him that much. Wow. Wants the high fastball.
And Davis leans back, 1-2. 95 from Morton. Let's check out the PPG Pittsburgh Paints overhead camera.
And we know that Ike has the pronounced open stance, very deep in the box, as far back as he can get. He's not so open as he used to be.
Yeah. When he first came up,
He's closed a lot more, but he's still slightly open.
Does it look like he's stepping in the bucket less than he did when he first came up?
I'll keep an eye on that, Garrett. I'll check it out.
Especially now that he's hitting the ball more to left field.
Yeah.
It's harder to hit it to left if you're stepping in the bucket.
As open as he is with his front foot, which I think he's got his right toe right in the arch of his foot, halfway on his back foot. That's how closed I was. I always had my the toes halfway right in the middle of my arch. That's how, just the exact opposite of Ike. I was open that much, I was closed that much.
3-2 for Morton. Up the middle, base hit for Davis. Good at bat for Ike, working his way back from 0-2, and he's aboard for the second straight time. The Mets have just their second hit.
Right down the pipe. That is just a rocket launcher. Nice hitting by Ike. Shoulder back. That would be a nice hit and run, wouldn't it?
maybe not. He would be covering, right?
He'd be a tough guy. You wouldn't want to hit and run with Ike. He's got too much movement, and he's your power hitter.
But you'd like to hit and run with this guy. Tolley rips one into right field for a base hit. So back-to-back hits for Davis and Tolley, and the Mets have two men on. Well, the Cardinals have jumped in front of the Padres 1-0. St. Louis just trying to keep some hope alive while the Padres start the night a half game up on the Giants in the West. Here's Lucas Duda, who flying to center his first time up. He's been hitting fly balls rather lazily virtually every at bat.
I know we're not supposed to root up here, Gary, but there's a little part of me rooting for Duda to get off the schneid, get himself a base hit.
And Lucas takes a strike.
First pitch changeup from Morton. That's what he got Duda to fly out on his first at bat.
0 for his last 23 since his only hit in Chicago. Ruben Tejada on deck. Morton working with a 2-0 lead. The Mets have the tying runs on base. And Duda rips one past Jones and down the line for an extra base hit. Davis scores. Tolley being waved around third.
Walker with the relay throw, not in time. Lucas Duda with a 2-run double, and he ties the game at 2.
Oh, there you go. Congratulations, young man. That's got to feel awful good. Right down the pipe fastball. Great camera angle right here. Just ripped down the line, just out of the reach of Garrett Jones.
So after going hitless in his last 23 at-bats, Lucas Duda has his second big league hit. They've both been doubles. They've both driven in runs. Josh Tolley, safe at home. Safe and secure. New York life. So it's a 2-2 ball game. The pitching coach, Ray Searage, is going to go out to the mound to talk to Morton.
The IOTV pitch differential, and once that ball down, it's up. Keith, I believe that was a changeup. Changeup to start the at-bat, fastball away for a ball, another changeup, but up in the strike zone. That's what he got through out in the first at-bat, and Lucas was ready for it. So when we watch Charlie Morton throw and the hits he's given up, there's a predictability to what he will throw in certain counts. And if I can see it from up here, certainly the hitters and Howard Johnson have kind of figured it out.
And it just over a course, you face someone once and twice. It's twice through the order now for the Mets. He's the type of guy that's going to make a mistake. You're going to get 7 pitches off this guy, 6 pitches. You're going to get 3 good ones to hit, or you're going to get the first pitch fastball out of the box quick.
Each team now with 2 runs and 4 hits. Ruben Tejada walked his first time up. And he takes a slider off the plate for ball 1. 3 straight hits, Davis, Tolley, and Duda, and they've all been hit hard. Belfry now on deck. Off-speed pitch, 1-1.
There's a good pitch right there.
That's the one he wanted to do.
That's a good pitch. But it's all about consistency, Ron. You can't do it once every 3 or 4 times. That is a fine pitch.
Out in front is Tejada.
Let me ask you this, Ronnie. You go back and look at Charlie Morton's records. He's 26 years old. He came up into the Braves farm system in 2002. And you go back and look at his year by year, he had a losing record every year in the minor leagues until his last season in AAA in the Braves organization. I know that wins and losses tend to be overrated sometimes, especially for development purposes. But here he is now in the major leagues, and you know he's 10-28 since he got to the majors.
Yeah, well, not only that, you don't know what kind of teams he played with in the minor leagues, so that has something to do with it also. But you always tend to think that your higher draft picks are going to get past that and at least be 500 in the minor leagues. And even more importantly, when you look at certain numbers, the strikeouts should be up. Hits to innings pitched should always be less hits than innings pitched. Those are the numbers you want to see in the minor leagues.
3-2 to Tejada. I mean, when a kid like Morton, who obviously has good raw material, comes up through a particular team's farm system, is it up to the individual pitching coach at a certain level to try and instill the kinds of things you're talking about, or is it an organizational thing?
Well, I think you'd like it to be an organizational thing, but you can't really do it like that because you're hiring people that they're all going to have different philosophies on how to get the job done. They're all going to have different relationships with the young pitchers on their staff, and they're going to actually like some more than they're going to like others. I think the key, though, for pitching coaches in the minor leagues is that you have to take their faults and kind of work around them. The foundation of what they come to you with, you want to work around that. You don't want to turn them into a clone of what you think a pitcher should throw like.
And that works 2 ways, Gary. It works with the hitters, too. There's ball 4, all of a sudden, Charlie Morton's having all kinds of difficulties. You work with what comes to the table, what the athlete brings to the table. And I think that's a very fine point that Ronnie makes.
just can't. Everybody can't throw the same way. Everybody can't hit the same way. And if that was the case, then you would never have a Doyle Alexander. You'd never have a guy with a herky-jerky motion. They would say, "Oh, you can't pitch in the big league because of X." And the same thing with hitting. So everybody has their own style. And good coaches work with that style. The hard part for young pitchers is there's this inevitable adversity. And same with hitters. It's a game of failure. So how do you limit the damage when things are not going your way?
Pirates looking for the bunt with Pelfrey. He almost had himself a base hit his first time up, and Garrett Jones made a nice sliding play to get him. And they run the wheel, and Pelfrey fouls it off. Faking the wheel.
Faking the wheel, they were.
I can tell you, Gary, getting back to individual coaches in my career, Joe Ducky Medwick, the Hall of Famer, the last National League Triple Crown winner back in the Gas House game, he didn't really help me that much. And I love Joe, but he was a different kind of hitter, a bad ball hitter, and everything he told me didn't really sink into me. Bob Kennedy was the farm director, and I was in a slump, and he came up to me and said, one time, "Be quick with your feet." I had never heard that. It just didn't register with me.
Yeah.
But I got Ken Boyer in AAA, and Ken Boyer made adjustments with me as far as moving closer to the plate, or moving a little, having me move a little further away from the plate, because I was getting jammed with sliders from right-handers, and then told me, "Now you're going to learn. You're moving 3 inches off the plate. Now you can't. You got to realize the inside corners changed 3 inches. You got to work your strike zone now in batting practice." That registered with me. But that was a minor. It's just funny. Some guys click, some guys don't.
On 0-2. Pelfrey gets it down, and Snyder will go to first with it. So third time the charm for Pelfrey. Sacrifice 2 to 4, moving the runners to second and third with 2 out.
Ronnie, anybody click or not click with you?
Well, there are plenty, I think, as we watch the bunt on Pelfrey. I think Snyder had a real shot at third base, but with the 1 out, decided to opt to get 2 outs. There, just a good quick snap throw gets that play at third very easily. There were a lot of coaches, Keith, that I think the biggest thing I learned in the minor leagues is that you have to not only take the knowledge that will work for you, but you have to start becoming your own coach, because there's going to be some information that's going to be passed along your way that is not the right information.
What is that knowledge that works for you? What do you mean?
The quicker you can learn what kind of pitcher you are, then when you get bad information, you can just, "Oh, thank you very much," but you push that aside. And then, like you said, clicking, sometimes someone will tell you, "Boy, that really works for me." Those are the things that you cling on to.
2 in scoring position for Reyes, who takes a strike, 1-1. Jose is 0 for 2 tonight, 2 ground balls to the right side. There's another piece to it, too. I mean, we're talking about Charlie Morton. Here's a guy who came up through the Braves farm system, a system that's been renowned for developing pitchers over the years. And at some point, they made the decision that he just wasn't going to make it.
Yes.
And put him in the trade for McLeod. Played on a fastball as Reyes wanted to.
And there is his fastball, what they want him to throw more. And when you're 1-11, you lose your confidence with all your pitches. Sometimes you get away from your strengths. That's his strength. Command of the fastball, start with that. Then we'll go to the other pitches.
And really, a 1-11, we compare Duda with his 1 for 32. 1-11 is much worse than a 1 for 32. A 1 for 11 is earth-shattering for a pitcher. A 1-11 is record.
It's hard to get back.
Yes.
Boy, you just don't have enough starts.
You start questioning everything about yourself sometimes, We're talking about Charlie Morton having great stuff. What do you think his own teammates and coaches are saying? How can this guy not win? Well, part of it is the ball club he's pitching for and their struggles, but it's even past that.
1-2 to Reyes, and Jose shoots 1 foul.
Talk about Bob Kennedy telling you to have quick feet. It's always that's upside down. It always used to have slow feet, quick hands.
Right.
And I came up through the Texas Rangers organization, and they took me from how I threw in college, and they wanted me to throw like Jim Palmer, straight over the top with a big overhand curveball. Well, by the time I finished AA, I was lost.
Well, Don Sutton told me last time in Atlanta when we played the Braves in a 4-game series. When he was in the minor leagues, the Dodgers wanted everybody to. He had that little wiggle.
Brain's getting kind of annoying.
And that big shoulder kick, and they in the minor leagues tried to change him. He said he wouldn't let him change. He said, "What about Don Drysdale? You're teaching me not to do that. You got a guy winning 20 games every year doing that big wiggle."
2-2 to Reyes, and he hits it out to left field. Tabeda's right there, and that ends the inning. But the Mets get even. 3 straight hits from the left-hand batters. Duda drives in 2 to tie it. Mets have gotten Mike Pelfrey back even as he takes them out for the 5th inning. He'll start the 3rd time around the Pirates batting order with Andrew McCutchen coming up. With the rain falling here at Citi Field, we were delayed 12 minutes at the start, but have played straight through since 7:22. And McCutchen takes a strike. McCutchen hit the ball very hard his last time up, lining out to Tejada at second base. 4 for 13 in this series, including a home run. Pelfrey is not allowed a home run to a right-hand hitter this season. That's a stunning statement.
It is. It really is.
No matter what ballpark you pitch in.
I mean, I used to sink the ball too, and I was always good for at least 10 to the right-hand hitters a year.
Low pitch count for Mike tonight. Good to see. In a year where at times he's been able to run up some very high pitch counts. Gets even on McCutchen, 2-2.
Mike's sinker right there, 90 miles an hour. This pitch to me is much more effective than when he throws 94 and straight out over the plate.
Missed it by a long way. Now you know that, and I think Mike knows that, because he's had more success when he's been able to sink the ball like that at lower velocity. But how hard is it to maintain that?
Yeah, well, every pitcher, especially when you're younger, still wants to light up the radar gun sometimes.
Little dribbler. Toley's got to go a long way to get it against the speedy McCutchen, and Ike takes it out, and he got him. Terrific play by Toley, and a nice pick by Davis to get McCutchen.
Well, nice play by Toley. The reverse spin, bare hand throw, short hop to Ike. Ike's got to get in front of that bag. Look where his foot is. I know I'm being picky here, but you've got to be right in the front of that bag with your foot. And it gives you another foot, and it's on the stretch.
Well, you know, it's funny, Keith. If he was on the front of that bag, that ball wouldn't have been in the dirt.
Right.
So 1 tough out. Now Jose Tabata takes off the plate. Ball 1. Tabata 0 for 2. He was retired on a fine defensive play by David Wright in the 1st inning and struck out in the 3rd.
He might not be fleet of foot, but he's a good base runner. And he's also very quick coming out from behind that crouch.
Well, we've seen how good his footwork has been on his throws this year. Broken bat grounder. And Tejada throws out top of the 2 away. Let's check in with Kevin.
And guys, you wonder what pitchers are going through at this time of year to get ready for their next start. And I talked to Dylan G, who will make his 3rd start on Saturday. And, you know, it's a little different because you're getting late in the year. This is also a guy that's coming off of shoulder injuries last year. So normally if this was earlier in the year, he would have thrown a bullpen session yesterday. But he said, you know what, you get to this point, I don't know how much there is to really gain unless you're working on some specific. To me, I'd rather be rested for the start. So instead of that, Dylan throwing a touch and feel session. And the difference is he's throwing a bullpen session yesterday. He tells me it's 100% all out. It's probably 35 pitches, really working like he's working a game. Today, the touch and feel, a lot less stress. The catcher will move in front of the plate a little bit on his toes. And he said it's more about rhythm. It's probably 20 pitches, maybe 25 at the most. It's more about just kind of rhythm and keeping the ball low and just kind of staying fresh. Really, a lot of Dylan's repertoire now is just running. A lot of running. Did a lot of running on Monday. Did some running yesterday. Today, he ran 8 3/4 poles, so he did that 8 times. And then they do a bunch of sprints. They set up cones 60 yards apart, and you have to go to and from within 20 seconds. You do that about 10 times. So a lot of light conditioning. Really, the heavyweight work is long gone. So tube exercises, using a lot of body weight to do some shoulder, some scapular stretching, things like that. But by this point in the year, it's pretty basic stuff. Touch and feel bullpen. We'll do some more running tomorrow and be ready to go on Saturday, guys.
Kevin, did you not get issued the SNY poncho?
I didn't. Mike Fargo, my buddy, has one right next to me, but he won't give it to me.
Not to put in the requisition. Walker down on strikes. Good inning from Belfry. 2-2.
I don't care if it's a Taj Mahal.
8 people in the 7th.
Join the Mets in City on September 22nd at Citi Field for an evening of great food from award-winning chefs and the chance to meet Darryl Strawberry and Tom Seaver at Teammates in the Kitchen. Log on to teammatesinthekitchen.com for more information. Jesus Feliciano leading off the home 5th. 0 for 2 tonight, flying to left, grounded to short. And Charlie Morton misses outside, 2-0. Angel Pagan and David Wright to follow Feliciano here in the 5th. Not yet an official game with rain falling and a 2-2 tie. Of course, the rules are a little different than they used to be about these things. It used to be if you played at least 5 innings and it was a tie game, it went in the books as a tie game and you have to replay it. Yeah. No more. Now, if you play an official game that's tied, it becomes a suspended game and you have to finish it. Here's the problem. If that were to happen today, it would never get finished.
That's right.
Because the Mets and Pirates don't meet again.
They could always, if they had shared a mutual off day, Gary,
Yeah, but they wouldn't do that for a suspended game, would they?
Would they?
I don't know. It could be a limbo game. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Feliciano's on with a leadoff walk, so the Mets will set about trying to grab a lead here in the bottom of the fifth. Fourth walk given up by Morton.
Whatever happens, you got to get to a spot where Duda's hit counts. That's the key.
As long as the game's official, it'll count. Yeah. Even if it's a suspended game that never gets completed. Pagan is 1 for 2, single to right in the first inning, 6 for 14 in this series, and he's driven in 5 runs. Angel had a little bump there for about 2 weeks, where his bat was a little slow, and he looked like maybe he was wearing down, but he has been so dedicated this year to finishing strong. And today he added another piece to his repertoire. Today he served as translator for Henry Mejia during Henry's session with the media following his MRI yesterday that revealed a strained muscle in his shoulder blade. And Angel handled the job, as he has everything else this year, with complete aplomb and great competence.
Keep Angel in town this winter. Go to the UN.
Yeah. Might be a job for him when his career is over. Drops down a beauty of a bunt, and they'll never throw him out. A bunt hit for Angel Pagan. He couldn't have rolled it out there any better. His second hit of the night.
Well, it's in between the catcher and the third baseman. It's right down the line.
It was disguised really well. Deadened off the bat. I mean, picture perfect. That's a great shot.
Love the way that ultra-low camera freezes the rain.
And you can really show also, freeze the rain, show when you bunt, all good bunters will tell you, what do you do with the bat? You catch the ball with the bat, and that's what Angel did right there.
David Wright is 0 for 2. Pedro Alvarez made a nice backhand pick to throw him out his last time up. Takes a fastball at the knees.
Keep your eyes level, the bat level. Watch it hit the bat. Catch the baseball on the bat. That will deaden it. And once you do that, if you have the right angle and that kind of speed, forget about it.
Will Ledesma, the left-hander. Sean Gallagher, the right-hander, up in the Pirates bullpen. One and one to right, with Ike Davis to follow. David with 92 runs batted in, tied for 10th in the league, but struggling with runners in scoring position over the last 2 months. Up the middle, Cedeno gets there, makes the flip, Walker the turn, double play. 6-4-3. Feliciano moves to third. Now there are 2 out.
Just got in on David's hands enough. Nice turn right there. Cedeno's a competent shortstop. Nice backhand. Pirates make a play.
Cedeno doesn't have a ton of range, and you have to wonder if the track were not this slow, might that ball have had a chance to get up the middle.
Yeah.
So 2 out, and it's left to Ike Davis to try and get that lead run home. Ike has walked and singled. He's scored a run tonight. And the curveball sits high for ball 1. Ike with 68 runs batted in, 6 shy of Darryl Strawberry's club rookie record. Another curve, this one for a strike.
When did I come up? Middle of May?
No, you're earlier.
Earlier,
like
right?
April 17th, something like that.
Because Strawberry was May 26th or something like that, the end of May.
Breaks his bat, flies one out to right center. McCutcheon back to grab it. It's a long way to hit a fly ball with a broken bat. But Morton keeps the Mets off the scoreboard in the 5th, and after 5, we're tied at 2. We go to the 6th inning. The Mets and Pirates tied at 2. We've been talking a lot about the future as the season starts to wind down. With a lot more on that, here's Kevin.
You know, we've been taking a look at the minor leagues, Garrett, last couple of days. We looked at the Mets outfield in depth first with a couple of guys who are maybe close to a major league level, and then last night guys that may be farther away but certainly talented in the system. And tonight, we take a look at second base and what the Mets have there at the minor league level. And I think before we do that, you have to take a look at what's here. The incumbents at second base slated to come back for next year. And obviously Ruben Tejada, who's been here a lot this year, got a lot of good experience. He's on that list. And so is Luis Castillo, who has been basically banished to Siberia. But, you know, Castillo will be in the final year of that 4-year, $24 million deal next year. So, you know, you think Tejada obviously getting the experience. He seems to be, at least right now, the front runner. But where else is there help in the Mets system? Well, unfortunately, maybe the best option for them health-wise has been hurt, and he's been chronically hurt. It's Reese Havens, a guy who they drafted in 08 in the first round, and a guy with an awful lot of talent, a shortstop in college, who at South Carolina did not miss a single game. But in 3 pro seasons now, he's played only 152 games. Now, in those games, he's hit 26 home runs, so that'll give you an idea. It's almost a season, 26 home runs in that time. He's got tremendous power, but injuries have just derailed his career so far. And, you know, Reese is actually in New York. What hurt him this year, he had an oblique and kind of a rib injury altogether, and they're still trying to figure it out. So this is a guy with an awful lot of talent on a kind of class of Ike Davis, but they've got to get him right, and they haven't found a way to do that yet, guys.
And it hasn't been just one thing with Havens. It's been his elbow, his groin, his quad, his hand, his back, this oblique thing. I mean, it's been almost everything physically has gone wrong with a guy who, as Kevin said, was an Iron Man in college.
Yeah, and I mean, Kevin was talking about his power. He just was one of those guys that came up really through the system, projected early on as a shortstop, but didn't have really the range to be a shortstop, and moved to second base and was going to be one of those kind of second basemen who would provide all that power. But you know what, in the minor leagues, not only if you're getting injured are you losing your development stage, but a lot of winters are spent, if you are an injury prone player, a lot of winters are spent in rehabilitation. So you're not doing baseball skills. You're spending most of your time trying to get back on the field, and that retards your progress also.
You know, guys, I talked to Tim Tuffle, who had him in A-ball. He had him in Double-A for a short time this year when he was there and he was promoted. And he said, look, I'll tell you this, in the short time that I had him, he's got a definite plate presence. He's got really quick hands. I get the hype. I saw it. I get it. He had a couple line drive home runs that were just rockets. But, again, it comes back to staying on the field. And Tim kind of echoed your thoughts, Ron, of how do you really judge a guy if you can't see him on the field for more than a couple straight months. And that's where they are right now. Certainly the talent is there with Reese.
Well, he's only 23 years old, and Garrett Jones draws a walk against Pelfrey, not what he wanted to do to start the 6th inning. So where do you go from there? What else is in the system as far as second base is concerned?
Well, I think after that, you're for the most part, barren, to be honest. I mean, the next guy that's really got a lot of talent, but he's the very raw player, is your Danny Valdespin. He's a guy that signed from the Dominican Republic in 2007, guys, just 22 years old. And saw him at the tail end of spring training this year. He did very well in St. Lucie, then was bumped up to Double-A and really struggled. He had just a .243 on-base percentage. Guy with a lot of tremendous tools, but he's very, very raw. And what a scout told me is he can kind of go either way. This is a guy that could be a really good second baseman or a guy that could really kind of go down the drain. So he's got a real long way to go, and that's really it at second base. So, right now, Tejada, and then you go to Reese Havens, who's been hurt constantly, and that's where the Mets are at that position.
And then, of course, the wild card, and we talked about it the other day, is Daniel Murphy, who the Mets still think is going to have a chance to be a second baseman, and that's where he was playing at Buffalo when he got hurt this year. How realistic do you think it is that Murphy can be an adequate enough second baseman to get his bat in the lineup?
He needs to take lots of ground balls, Gary. Amy did not field well out in left field, is almost a man without a position. And I have grave concerns. I'm a firm believer that you have to be strong up the middle to win.
Alvarez lifts one to center, and Pagan has it lined up. Tagging at first, Jones. He's going to try for second, challenging Pagan. The throw is there, but he gets around the tag from Reyes. Good throw by Pagan, but Jones gets in safely.
Well, I'll say this. He's safe. It's a nice throw by Pagan, but this is not a smart base running play. It's not a smart base running play. He's dead to rights if that throws an easy one hop for Reyes where he doesn't have to play it behind the bag. So you as a coach, you would tell him, don't do that again. I appreciate your hustle.
Got almost at his second outfield assist of the night.
Yeah. But getting back to Daniel Murphy at second base, didn't show a whole lot of range at first base. He's aggressive. We know that. We love his aggressiveness. And every aspect of his aggressiveness, but I firmly believe that you got to be strong up the middle. And what does he bring offensively that's going to let you put him at second base? Does he bring that? Is he a Joe Morgan type player? I don't think he's that. I just have serious reservations. Daniel's going to have to work very hard to become a competent second baseman. Much like Pete Rose did. Remember, Pete Rose came up as a second baseman. Pete Rose moved to left field, became a Gold Glove left fielder. He moved to third base. Pete Rose worked very, very hard. There's more than one side of the field. You can go in that cage and you can hit for 3-4 hours like these guys do today. But you know what? You can help your team out there with a glove. And the only way to improve is to go out there and take ground ball after ground ball after ground ball like these guys hit in the cage.
Keith, you worked with Murph in spring training last year for a few days. I mean, did you sense, and I certainly understand what you're saying, but did you sense the ability to learn and adapt quickly when you were, the couple of short days that you worked with him?
Murph is a good student, and he wants to learn, and he is a hard worker. But I see too much. The point I'm trying to make is
Alker drives one to right, and Feliciano picks it off for the second out.
The one sound I hear when I'm on the ball, I come to the ballpark every day, and I'm working ball games, and I walk on down to the dugout. All I hear is the crack of the bat in the batting cage. These guys hit. I don't see enough sound of the ball off the fungo. Ground balls, working on defense.
The one thing that's interesting when you think about the Pete Rose reference, Keith, is that Murphy and Rose, very similar body types. Kind of stocky,
Ronnie Cedeno drove in a run with a triple his last time up, and he takes a strike. Well, when you have a guy like Murphy, who I guess has now played third base and the outfield and first base and is now trying to learn how to play another position, how much can you improve in terms of the basic skills of having, let's say, range at second base? I mean, you can learn how to turn double play, right? You can do that and get better at that by repetition. But just in terms of being competent at fielding ground balls and establishing range and making throws, how much better can you get at that?
Well, I will say that it's more about, yeah, he can make himself a little better, but Greg Jeffries was a great athlete, but he didn't have any baseball instinct, so it didn't matter where you put him. When you had to know where to throw the ball in a certain circumstance, that would be challenging for Greg, and I think that's what we're talking about. You change these positions. Physically, Murph is, like Keith said, a hard worker. He'll do anything you tell him to do. But at some point, you've got to turn that double play when you got to have it in the 8th inning to win a ball game.
Cedeno breaks his bat. Pelfrey makes the play, and the inning is over. Well, we already know that Murph can make the behind-the-back play. Got that one down pat. That's one broken bat. 2-2. Was okay. All right, Chris, Will Ledesma will take over the pitching for the Pirates as we go to the 6th inning.
Well, you see his numbers here in 23 games. Not great. Ledesma does not walk anybody. That's a good sign. But he was outstanding at AAA this year. Only a 0.94 ERA and 50 Ks in 35 games.
Josh Tolley will lead things off for the Mets in the bottom of the 6th. And Charlie Morton went 5 innings, allowed 2 runs, 5 hits, 4 walks, 1 strikeout. Credible outing for Morton, who had been struggling so badly. And the veteran Ledesma, 29 years old, former Tiger, former Brave, Padre, Diamondback. I think I got them all. National. These lefties
have left hand will travel.
That's it. You know the old saying, if you're left-handed and you can breathe, there's a job for you. Tolley is 1 for 2, and he pulls that one right to the second baseman Walker for the first out. Well, the Mets have done a very nice thing. The Mets have announced that because of the inclement weather tonight, all tickets from tonight's game can be redeemed for complimentary tickets to one of the games on the final homestand against the Brewers, September 27th through the 30th. That includes all paid, complimentary, and tickets marked no rain check. So, nice. Whether you came to the game tonight or whether you had tickets and didn't, those tickets are redeemable for tickets for that series against the Brewers, September 27th through the 30th. Lucas Duda had his biggest hit as a Met, his second, a 2-run double his last time up. Pulled one down the right field line, snapped an 0 for 23 skid. And he takes it off the plate, 1-1. Ruben Tejada waiting on deck. And Duda has another base hit. Might get another extra base hit out of this as McCutchen cuts it off. Duda's trying for 2. McCutchen's throw, and he stays on the base. He's safe. Almost overslid the bag, but Duda's got another double.
Well, good for Lucas. Off a lefty, too. Very nicely done. A risky move here, not a good slide. He's trying to beat the tag. So you don't need to do that side slide. Closest distance, the shortest distance between point A and point B is a straight line. Should have got his foot. Should have had his foot right into the bag.
Lucas Duda, safe at second. Safe and secure. New York Life.
Really slide into that bag. He kind of mauled that bag.
So Ledesma faces 2 batters. He'll exit, and they'll bring in a right-hander to face Ruben Tejada. Mets with the go-ahead run at second with 1 out. Sean Gallagher coming in. This pitching change brought to you by Lincoln Mercury.
Everything.
Sean Gallagher, the right-hander, comes in to face Ruben Tejada, who's walked in each of his 2 plate appearances tonight. Duda at second and 1 out in a tie game in the 6th. And Ruben takes a strike on the outside.
Gallagher was acquired in July from the San Diego Padres. So I'm sure he's still watching that race, even though now he's a Buck.
You ever think he bemoans his fate?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I'm sure he does.
See, the other day, the Red Sox picked up Willie. The Reds picked up Willie Bloomquist from the Royals, and he had a a big hit for them yesterday. He said it's nice to gain a few games instead.
Yeah, a few.
Even though he's not going to be eligible for the postseason since they got him after September 1st. 1-1 to Tejada. And he lifts one well out to left center field, but playable for Tabata. Duda going halfway, and he'll return to second. So Tejada is retired for the second out, and now Mike Pelfrey will come to bat. Speaking of Reds outfielders, how about the catch Jay Bruce made last night to save Francisco Cordero, another blown save.
Adam LaRoche, that looked like it could have went out of the ballpark.
That was a nice little catch in a very tight spot.
The Reds lost today, but they are having themselves a marvelous season. It's their first winning season in 10 years, and looking to get to postseason play for the first time since what, 95?
Yeah.
And well on their way with a 7.5 game lead. Pelfrey toward the home. Cedeno can't track it down. Duda around third. He comes home with the lead run. Mike Pelfrey with the RBI single to put the Mets in front 3-2. Third run batted into the year for Pelfrey.
Well, Gary, you said it a moment ago. Not a moment ago. Last half inning, Cedeno's lost his range. The ball was not hit hard. Does not cover the ground, and there you go.
Roger got to knock that ball down. Gary. It's all yours, baby. Lucas Duda, safe at home, safe and secure. New York Life. You could have taken it.
Well, I'll take the next one.
It's my third already tonight. But who's counting? So Pelfrey comes through and gives himself the lead. Now Reyes takes a strike. The run is charged to Will Ledesma, so he's now pitcher of record on the short side after giving up the double to Duda. So Lucas Duda having himself a big night tonight, coming back from that 1 for 34 beginning to his major league career. 2 doubles, 2 RBIs. Make his baseball card look a little better at the end of the year.
Mets can hold this. I sense a little Kevin Lucas interview after the game. Player of the game.
Well, Lucas did that pregame interview with us the other night, which I thought was startling that he was so gracious to do when you're a player in that kind of position.
When you're struggling, you just do not want to talk to anyone. Leave me alone. You don't want to. And he was brave enough, and he was great in the interview to come on and provide the opening for us.
Reyes is 0 for 3 tonight. Started the night with a 7-game hitting streak. Gallagher gets it on his fists, and it's 2-2. Jesus Feliciano would be next. That's now with 7 hits off 3 Pirate pitchers. Looking for a 4-game sweep. Shallow left, and Tabata is in to make the grab and end the inning. But Mike Pelfrey's 2-out RBI single has given the Mets the lead. Lucas Duda with his second double of the night, and Pelfrey does the rest after 6 at Citi Field, 3-2 New York. Every weekday on SNY, get on the New York Sports Local and stay on top of all the latest happenings in New York sports with insider info, exclusive interviews, special guests, and heated debate on Daily News Live, Wheelhouse, and Loudmouths, all part of the New York Sports Local weekdays starting at 5 on SNY. Mike Pelfrey now with a 3-2 lead after the Mets fell behind in this game 2-0. Alex Presley will bat for Chris Snyder, leading off in the 7th inning. And then Ryan Doman has come out on deck to bat for the pitcher. Presley, a lot of speed from the left side. He drops down the bunt and told he's got no chance. And Presley has a bunt hit. So just as Angel Pagan did in the 5th inning, a perfectly placed bunt by Presley.
Exact replica. Beautiful bunt. He even stayed back longer and really was more of a drag bunt than Angel's.
So now the tying run is aboard, and Ryan Doman will come up to pinch hit for the pitcher Gallagher. Doman had an RBI double as a pinch hitter in the game last night. And the switch hitter takes down low for ball 1. Chris Resop is up in the Pirates bullpen. How many right-handers did you say they have in the bullpen? 10. September baseball. Land of the endless pitching changes. Doman pops one up in the left. And Duda has a play. 1 out. And Presley back to first. Andrew McCutchen coming up. Let's check in with Kevin.
Guys, we've talked a lot on the broadcasts of late, of course, with Josh Toley getting all this playing time about his development. And I talked to Dave Joust today. He works with the catchers exclusively. And I said, what was the toughest obstacle in terms of, here's Toley. He knows these guys are coming back from spring training and having to work with a Johan Santana, a veteran stud, in terms of speaking up and, being able to kind of show what you want to do and just kind of break down that wall. And he said, well, I actually thought it was the other way around. The first time that Toley caught Santana after coming up, a few days later it was Johan who came up to me and said, hey, I was impressed. I thought that Josh read swing to swing, read that very well. I thought at bat to bat he read that very well. So, instead of this young catcher trying to kind of break down the barrier, it was the pitcher, the veteran pitcher, who was doing that to Dave Joust. And so the relationship kind of forms right there. I think that's kind of a fascinating thing about this, a young catcher and how he works with the veteran pitcher, right, Ronnie? How does that work? How does the rapport work? And how long do you think it takes time to develop in something like that?
Well, I think one of the most important things, Kevin, is that the elite pitchers, you could put a refrigerator back there and they'll make it work. They just they just don't worry about the things that don't concern them, and they don't get frustrated if they have a new catcher back there. But the one thing is that Santana not only is a great pitcher, but he's also a good teammate. So he'll do all he can to help Josh out. And I think the development between catcher and pitcher is not always about age. It's about simpatico, how you guys get together. If I know a catcher is on the same wavelength as I am, and that it's defense first, his offense will come, and he and I are trying to shut down the other team and thinking alike, those are the special relationships you can have within a game.
Pelfrey about to throw his 100th pitch of the night. Two and one to McCutchen, and he lines a base hit. And now the Pirates have 2 men on. Presley pulls in at second. So a couple of hits here in the 7th for Pittsburgh. The tying run in scoring position with Jose Tabata coming up.
Well, that'll get him busy in the bullpen, and he's been pounding Pelfrey, been pounding McCutchen inside. See, Elmer descends, and Pedro Feliciano up for the Mets. Been pounding McCutchen in, but down and in, Ronnie, and eating him up. That base hit right there with the fastball up. McCutchen's more of a high ball hitter. And the IOTV pitch differential, there you go, and there's the difference.
So now Jose Tabata was 0 for 3 tonight and 1 for 16 in the series. These guys are ready. And he takes low and away for ball 1. Another good night on the mound for Pelfrey. Now trying to nurse the lead for the first time. And Tabata fouls it away. 1-1.
That was one of the few mistakes Mike has made tonight. That was a mistake where you can really get hurt. And this is always invariably a hanging slider. Oh boy, that's right in the wheelhouse.
He hasn't thrown the fastball yet. It's 2-1. Pirates have a ton of speed on the bases, probably their two fastest players, with Presley at second and McCutchen at first.
Mike's strength, though, is the ground ball. You know, sliders away, he can come back in with a sinker down and in. Get himself a ground ball, maybe get out of this inning.
And he misses inside to Tabata. Now it's 3-1. Sens and Feliciano both getting ready. You got the switch hitting Walker on deck, and then the left hand hitting Jones. Big pitch to make here for Pelfrey, behind in the count 3-1.
God, I just can't believe he'd run him here. There's just too many strikeouts, too many swings and misses in his Pirate lineup.
Slow ground ball. Pelfrey gives ground, his only play of first, and he gets Tabata for the second out as the runners move up to second and third. So 2 out. Walker coming up. Let's check in with Gary Apple, see what's coming up tonight on Geico Sports Night.
All right, Gary, they're jumping on the Jets from all around the NFL. Teddy Bruschi, Terrell Owens, Chad Ochocinco, all ripping the Jets. Going to have that. Steve Lavin getting another big recruit at St. John's. We'll have it all when we see it tonight.
You know, they play so few games in football. All they do is talk. That's right. Talk all week. Play some games. Come on.
Who cares what Owens and Ochocinco want to say anyways? Yeah.
Now you got Neil Walker, the switch hitter, coming up with second and third and 2 out in a 1-run game. You got the left-hand swinging Garrett Jones on deck. A lot of options here. You could walk Walker, bring in the lefty to face Jones, or you can just let Pelfrey try and pitch his way out of this inning.
I think you want to pitch against Walker. He's had a tough series anyways, and Jones has been the best Pittsburgh hitter this entire series.
Walker's gone 0 for 13 in these 4 games, 0 for 3 tonight. Pelfrey struck him out his last time up. Presley the tying run at third, and McCutchen at second with 2 down. Pelfrey at 105 pitches for the night. So 1 big out to get here in the 7th. And he comes inside to Walker, 1-0.
Mike has pitched the lefties inside predominantly this series. I mean, this outing. Did it against the Phillies left-hand hitters, so you've got to be careful because there's advanced scouts, and you just don't want to become too predictable. Someone's going to make an adjustment.
Yeah, Walker takes a strike.
He's going to have the indicator here. With Pelfrey's got to give a series of signs. Changing to away here on his third pitch.
And the splitter misses, and it's 2-1. Close pitch. Walker got the call. As this at bat progresses, Ronnie, do you become more aggressive, or do you bend the outside corner to try and stay away from him?
You make your pitch. You have the base open. You make your pitch. Don't give in to the hitter. His aggressiveness is probably going to get him out if you make your pitch.
Comes inside, and Walker trying to turn on it, yanks it deep into the promenade.
That's what I was just saying a minute ago. You can't live in there too much. I'm always a proponent of throwing inside. You know me. You have to, but you've got to be too careful not going into that well too much.
Well, if you're reading the bat and you're Josh Tolley, You just threw a fastball in. You hit it way foul. If you're reading the bat, a changeup or anything away is the pitch to throw. He'll be way out in front.
2-2 to Walker. He struck him out. Mike Pelfrey fans Walker. The Pirates strand 2 in scoring position. And the Mets keep the lead into the 7th inning stretch. Saturday when he was taken out of the game, he kept his back turned to Jerry Manuel, and we and others gave him a lot of heat for that he never faced his manager and showed some disrespect. Well, here he's coming out of the game, and he made a point to go over to Jerry and give him a little hug.
Like that much better.
Gets a nice smile from the skipper.
And a nice game by Mike. Just outstanding last pitch of sequence of pitches against Walker to get out of that inning.
Ryan Doman, who pinch hits, stays in the game behind the plate. And Chris Reesop is on to pitch for the Pirates.
You can see the numbers on Reesop this year. A lot of walks in those 18 2/3 innings, but he's been able to pitch well with runners on base. Numbers against the right-handed hitters, outstanding.
Reesop has plenty of experience facing the National League East, having pitched with the Marlins and the Braves. Jesus Feliciano leads off for the Mets in the home 7th. Jesus 0 for 2 and a walk, with Angel Pagan and David Wright behind him. And bluffing a bunt, takes ball 1. Charlie Morton was the Pittsburgh starter tonight, went 5 innings, allowed 2 runs, 5 hits. Will Ledesma's on the hook. He went a third of an inning, 1 run, 1 hit. And Sean Gallagher 2/3 of an inning, no runs, 1 hit. 2-0 to Feliciano. Reesop now 27 years old, originally drafted by the Marlins. Pirates got him on waivers from the Braves in August. Another guy who has a good arm, and you could never understand why he hasn't had more consistent success.
I think what happens to a lot of these guys in the bullpen, it's how you can be the same every time you come out of the bullpen. Sometimes they'll have a good day and then a couple of bad days. The key is to be pretty consistent.
There's very little less predictable in this game than the year-to-year results of relief pitchers. And Feliciano takes a 3-1 fastball for a strike. Jesus, normally a guy who's up there hacking at that 3-1 pitch.
You want to get those relief pitchers deep in their pitch count.
Well, Feliciano draws a leadoff walk for his 2nd straight plate appearance. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Absolute Vodka, the ideal choice for cocktails perfected. Enjoy with absolute responsibility. By BJ's Wholesale Club. Join John Franco this Saturday at the Flushing BJ's, located at 131-07 40th Road, from noon to 1 p.m. for a meet and greet and a chance to win Mets tickets courtesy of BJ's, Tide, and Downey. And by Toyota. It's the Now's the Time sales event at your Toyota dealer. Hurry, offers ensue. What's that address again?
I don't get those addresses. The dashes.
Oh, that's Queens.
Yeah, I know.
Everything in Queens has a dash in it. Pagan drops the bunt down, but it's hard back to the pitcher, and Resop gets the force at second. So after laying down a brilliant bunt in his previous at-bat, not a good bunt this time by Pagan. 1-6 force play erases Feliciano.
Was that a sacrifice bunt all the way?
I think it was. I think it was. The one thing, though, that Angel is such an accomplished bunter that I think he should stay with how he bunts when he bunts for a base hit.
Kind of like Jose Reyes,
yeah.
Same thing. Just
Castillo.
Not really capable of squaring. Here's David Wright, who's 0 for 3. Had a big opportunity in the 5th inning with 2 men on and bounced into a double play. Now up with 1 out and 1 on. Pagan with 33 steals on the year. And Resop takes a quick check. Pagan tied for second in the National League in stolen bases behind Michael Bourne. That's working with a 1-run lead in the 7th.
Pagan has to go here with a combination of Resop slow to the plate, Domet struggled behind the plate throwing out runners, and the speed of Pagan.
Domet has thrown out 6% of potential base stealers this year. Not quite certain, but that's got to be the lowest figure in the league. Not going, and Wright takes it off the plate for ball 1. David Wright right now at 653 career RBIs, just 2 behind Mike Piazza's total as a Met, which is second on the Mets all-time list to Darryl Strawberry.
Key fastball away.
There goes Pagan, and Wright lifts one down the right field line over into that corner and beyond the reach of Bowker. A foul ball, 1-1. We've seen this a few times lately with Pagan on and Wright at the plate, where Angel is trying to steal the base and David has swung. It's hard to take the bat out of David's hands, though.
That's right.
What pitch should I call?
I think he's looking in the bench and he wants to throw over. I think we've said this in the past that when I was pitching in the 80s, that thumb was the sign by the catcher to hit the batter. And that's changed now to the throw over.
Well, because in those days, catchers weren't calling throws to first, were they?
Yeah, so if I was out there, I'd hit someone. I wouldn't even know what I'm doing.
Fastball in. He's got to get it up. Bell tying up.
Pagan runs. Domet takes a long time getting rid of it, and Pagan steals the base easily, his 34th of the year.
Well, we certainly can't blame this on Domet. He had a huge lead.
A terrific jump.
Here's your pop-up slide, Keith.
Yes. Very nice, Angel.
So 34 steals now for Pagan, and an insurance run in scoring position. Two and one to Wright. And a balk is called. A balk is called, and Pagan goes to third. Walker made a dash to the bag at second base, and I think it confused Rysop.
Yeah, Rysop flinched when Walker broke to the bag. Watch the big break. Rysop with a little flinch, just enough to.
That's it.
There it was. There it was.
He didn't know what to do. To throw to second or throw home.
So now the infield has to come in. 2-1 the count to right with a runner at third. And the slider off the plate, 3-1. Ike Davis to follow. Nobody throwing in the Pittsburgh bullpen. So an ideal spot here for Wright on 3-1 to try and get that run home. David leads the league in sacrifice flies with 12. And he takes ball 4, and now the Mets have runners at the corners for Davis. The Pirates, with all those relievers available, have nobody up. The inning where Rysop has now walked a pair and committed a balk. Ray Series will talk to him before he pitches to Davis. Meanwhile, Pedro Feliciano getting ready in the Mets bullpen. With the left-hand hitters, Jones, Alvarez, and Bowker due up for the Pirates in the 8th. Sunday, immediately after the Jets-Patriots game, tune into SNY for behind-the-scenes access, player reactions, and a complete game breakdown with exclusive on-field interviews and Rex Ryan's post-game comments on Jets Post-Game Live, presented by Toyota. Sunday, immediately after the Jets-Pats game, only on SNY. Here's Ike Davis with Pagan at third and Wright at first and one out. Now, do you want David to try and run here, or you want to keep that hole open?
I would personally want to keep that hole open.
I would also.
Ike is 1 for 2, single to center, and scored a run in the 4th. And Ike takes it away for ball 1.
Well, there's not much they can do. Pretty much straight up in the outfield. They are playing for the double play, and rightly so. Ike does not run well. Pirates obviously need a ground ball. I don't believe they're going to get it.
Goldman wants a changeup from Rysop, and he gets it in for a strike. 1-1.
It's a dangerous pitch to change up to a left-handed hitter when you have the hole open between first and second base. It's a pitch that left-handed hitter is going to pull. You don't want them pulling the ball between that hole.
So this has been a difficult situation for Davis this year. He's only gotten that runner in from third 46% of the time. Well below the league average. And another changeup is down, 2-1.
Well, if David's not going, sorry, Keith, if David's not going, he's not really being held on. His responsibility is to get a real big secondary lead in case there is a ground ball and try to break up the double play.
He's just missed with 2 changeups. This is a fastball away. I mean, easy to read the pitcher's mind.
But he misses badly with it, and it's 3-1 with Josh Tolde now standing on deck.
Now you run, David.
Rysop has already walked 2 in the inning, given up a stolen base, committed a balk, and the Mets poised to try to add to their lead.
Fastball away. You got to shake your head. That's going to fool. That's going to fool everybody. Please.
That's what it misses 3-2.
Don't get bitter up here. Oh, did fool Ike on that pitch.
It didn't fool. He just threw it by him.
That's right.
Jeez.
Well, now for certain, Wright's got to be running to try and keep the Mets out of the double play.
Fastball away, of course. He wants a ground ball.
Ike has struck out 126 times this year. He lifts this one to center field. That should get the run in with Pagan tagging at third. McCutcheon makes the grab, and Pagan comes on home. Sacrifice fly for Ike Davis, and the Mets stretch their lead to 4-2. RBI number 69 for Ike.
Well, the key here is all about getting ahead in the count. They had to come to him. And getting ahead in the count, missing with secondary pitches. That is always a no-no.
Angel Pagan, safe at home, safe and secure. New York Life. Mets score a run without a base hit thanks to the balk by Resop. Now right at first with 2 out for Tolle, who's 1 for 3. Singled and scored in the 4th. David has 18 steals this year, but he's been caught 10 times, so his percentage has not been great. Not a very big lead for Wright. Nets were down in this game 2-0, but Lucas Duda's 2-run double in the 4th tied it. Mike Pelfrey's base hit drove in a run in the 6th to give them the lead, and now Davis's sacrifice fly has added to it. Pitch out, but Wright's not running. The last time the Mets swept a 4-game series at home, it was August of 2003 when they swept 4 from the Colorado Rockies.
I guess it is true when you say it's hard to sweep 4 games.
Last time they swept a 4-game series anywhere, you remember this?
Yes.
2006 in Arizona. I wasn't there.
You had medical issues.
My biggest medical issue is that I took off a road trip and the Mets went 9-1. I never heard the end of it.
That's right. You did catch a lot of flack.
How many people said, could you take a couple more weeks off?
That was the infamous series that, some name that, well, you'll recognize. Alain Soler threw a shutout.
2-hitter. It was the chair.
It was the chair.
Remember that there was a chair in the visiting dugout in Arizona. Not the dugout bench, but just a separate chair that Alain Soler sat in every inning.
Like a chair you'd have at a card table.
Biggest mistake the Mets made all year was not putting that chair on the plane when they left Arizona, because he never pitched that well again. There's a strike to Tolle, 2-2.
Well, Duque had a complete game win in that series also.
That was shortly after the Mets got him from Arizona, right?
Yeah, but that was the road trip where the Mets were leading 3-0 or more after the first inning every game.
L.A. and Philadelphia on that trip too, right?
That was the year.
A lot of magical moments in that year. The end of that road trip was a win in Philadelphia. I'll never forget David Wright turned an impossible double play to end the ball game.
Resop and Tolle battling. 2-2, but first a throw over. Right, only about a step off the bag. He's showing no signs of wanting to run. Tolle can keep the inning going. Lucas Duda, who's had a big night, would be next. Mr. Met Dash coming up on Sunday. Should be a much nicer day. There goes David. And Tolle slaps one past Alvarez and down the line. Wright racing for third. He makes it safely, and the Mets have runners at the corners. So Josh Tolle with his second hit of the night.
Well, Josh goes the other way naturally. And there you can see it right there. He got there. He just didn't make the play.
Talked about hit and run before. That was not a designed hit and run play, but it has the same effect. And you look at Tolle, and he's capable of doing that.
Yes, he is. David does not get to third base if he's not running.
So now Duda, who has a pair of doubles, drove in 2 to tie the game in the 4th, and then scored the go-ahead run in the 6th. So after a pile of frustration the last couple of weeks, Duda has broken out tonight. And now at first and third, he takes a breaking ball in the dirt for ball 1. Jones takes a strike.
I hate to see a fastball away. Still now you hate to see it, right?
Someone take it. Just hate to see it.
They've been giving him a steady diet of changeups. First Charlie Morton, and first pitch from Reesop is a changeup also.
The fastball by him, and it's 1-2.
He chased a bad fastball there.
Ruben Tejada would be next. Mets have a run home in the 7th. Reesop ahead on Duda, 1-2. Pitches in the inning for Reesop. Now the 29th. And Duda hits one out to right field. And Malcolm retreats to grab it and end the inning. But the Mets scratch out a run on Davis's sacrifice fly. And they've got a 2-run lead as we head to the 8th at Citi Field. Innings from John Neese on the mound as they open their series against the Braves here at Citi Field. Mets Braves coverage begins with Subway pregame live tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. only on SNY. They're your Mercedes probables for the series. Neese against Tommy Hansen tomorrow night. Dylan G makes his 3rd start against Tim Hudson on Saturday afternoon, and then in the series finale, R.A. Dickey goes for his 12th win against Derek Lowe, who's put together a spectacular start his last time out.
Well, he put a lot of pressure on Jonathan, didn't he?
Wasn't my words.
Oh, okay.
I was just reading.
Pedro Feliciano
right.
with his 81st game, which has become common for Pedro.
88 games last year, club record. 86 the year before, which was a club record. He went an inning and 2/3 last night, and right back out there tonight to face Garrett Jones, who's 1 for 2 in a walk, 6 for 16 in this series. And he fouls one at the plate, 0-2. It'll be Jones, then Alvarez and Bowker, 3 left-hand hitters due up for the Pirates here in the 8th. Mike Pelfrey is in line for his 15th win of the year. If the bullpen can get 6 outs. Good breaking ball by Feliciano as he pulled the string and got Jones for the first out. Let's check in with Chris Carlin for a New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. Good night for Jake Westbrook, who has been struggling for the Cardinals.
He only won one game for them.
Here's Pedro Alvarez, 1 for 2 and a walk, and he takes the slider for a strike. Pirates with 2 runs and 6 hits. Alvarez, after going hitless the first 2 games of the series back in his hometown, a triple last night, a double tonight. By the way, did I mention the Horace Mann contingent has thinned out a little bit as this rainy night's gone along? Can't really blame them, can you?
That's right.
It has been not a pleasant night to be in the ballpark, and that's why the Mets have offered complimentary tickets to every ticket holder from tonight's game. And the breaking ball, strike 3 called, so Feliciano's fanned the first 2 men to face him.
Piece of cake.
What happens? I have some plate.
Can I ask you a question? John Bowker's coming up to face Pedro Feliciano. How deep in the doghouse is Lasting's millage that he can't get a turn at bat here?
I just said that to the truck. Is that right?
I mean, there's a slow ground ball, and Bowker retired easily by Feliciano. A very easy inning for Feliciano as Millage stews in the dugout. 4-2 New York, middle of the 8th at Citi Field. Here's your Mass Mutual Mets box score. Lucas Duda with a couple of doubles and 2 RBIs tonight. Not pictured there, Mike Pelfrey, who had the go-ahead hit in the 6th inning to put the Mets up 3-2. Now it's 4-2 as we head to the bottom of the 8th. And Steven Jackson takes the mound for Pittsburgh.
Well, he had a scoreless inning a couple of days ago against the Mets. This is his 4th stint with the Bucks this season.
Batting average against him. Right-hander's hitting .500. Is that correct?
That's strange for a right-handed pitcher.
Of course, it's a small sample. He's only been in 8 games. Ruben Tejada, right-hand hitter, will lead off. Ruben's walked twice tonight and flied out to left, and the birthday boy has come out on deck, Chris Carter, who is celebrating his 28th birthday today. Popped up, shallow center field. And Walker gives way to Bowker for the first out. So Carter comes up. So Carter's 28 today. Now, how old is that in animal year?
That's right, 74. Dog year is 74.
No. 7 times 24. He's very old.
28.
28.
7 times. Oh boy. Heading to the last roundup.
Isunori Takahashi, who earned a save in last night's game, ready to do it again tonight. As Carter brings a .255 average to the plate and takes ball 1. Now, ball players generally don't love birthdays, right? Because it pushes you a little further toward the end of the line.
Oh, yeah.
You never think about it in your 20s. You never think about it until if you have a long career.
Yeah, you think you're going to be 25 forever at some point.
You start thinking about it when you're 34.
But if you're a younger player trying still to make your way, the bigger the number next to your birthday, the less your prospect status stays intact.
Oh, yeah. No, the clock is ticking louder and louder as you...
But you got two guys that can't relate to that. I mean, because Ronnie was in the big leagues and successful at a young age, and it took me a little bit, but I was still an everyday player at 23.
Mm-hmm. But you can empathize with a guy like Carter who's still trying to establish himself at 28.
Right, of course.
Two and two to Chris. And the changeup misses. 3-2.
Birthdays, when you have them during the season, you very rarely get to really celebrate them. A lot of times you're on the road, and one of your buddies on the team will say, "Hey, listen, it's your birthday today, isn't it? Yeah, we'll go, have a beer after the game." That game usually is about a 15-inning game. It goes past 12 o'clock, so you never celebrate it anyway.
Carter rips one to right field, and Baccarat to plant on a hop. Can't do that cleanly, but he gets back to it. So Carter has a birthday hit.
Nice.
Well, this ball almost got by him for a big trip. Oh boy, that's just the tip of that glove.
Carter's work is done. Joaquin Arias will come in to run for him. There's the other thing about celebrating a birthday during a season is if somebody does bring you a cake, Doug Rader might get a hold of it.
Hey, the worst I ever saw. Because the one thing that happens, because you have so many young men and coaches and clubhouse kids, that invariably it seems that every day someone's celebrating a birthday. And there's always a cake that someone donates or someone brings in. And one year, when we had one of our players, who was the MVP for San Francisco, played left field. He played for us in 1986. I couldn't even think of his name. Sorry. Kevin Mitchell.
Right.
Sorry, Mitch. One of the batting practice pitchers was looking at the cake and saying, maybe I'll have a piece of the cake. And Mitch says, I wouldn't have a piece of that cake because it's a little sour. He said, "It is?" He says, "Yeah, it must. I don't know. They must have had it out for a long time. Smell it. It's sour." He went to smell it, and Mitch pushed his face into the cake and broke his nose.
Oh no!
Broke his nose.
Oh goodness!
So those are the real high antics that happen in clubhouses during the season.
Mitch was a strong dude.
Oh, you kidding? He was the true animal. Now, I only had 2 birthdays in my lifetime playing baseball. Mine was October 20th, but I had one very special in 1982. I turned 28, I believe, in 82, 29 on the 7th game of the World Series against the Brewers, and we won. Can you believe that?
Happy birthday.
What did you do?
Hit the bases loaded hit. Nice. Our first and third hit that tied the game, and then George, it's just like the Mets with Carter. Same type of hit in the 7th game. George Hendricks came behind me, and he got a base hit to right field to put us ahead for good.
It was in 86, so October 20th was a day off between games 2 and 3 of the World Series.
That was the famous day off. Famous day off that Davey angered a lot of the press and media because he gave the team a late day off, and our players were just bushed from the Astros series. And I think most of you guys slept all day.
I had my brother with me.
Yeah.
Remember that it was hot during the day in Boston,
Yeah.
and then it was cold at night, freezing at night.
There goes Arias. The pitch is outside, ball 4, and Reyes draws a walk. Well, the reason I think why everybody was angry is because you lost the first 2 games of the series at home. How can you not work him out on the off day, right?
Oh, right. What arrogance.
David was he knew his team. He knew everyone was beat. He said, "Listen, guys, get some rest. Get some sleep."
There wouldn't be a manager today that would dare do that.
Yeah.
Would dare do that. I remember distinctly that they flipped over. We didn't know if we were going to California or Boston. That was a hard-fought series, too.
And the hotel we stayed at in Boston, they had flipped over the hotel to winter, so they turned the air off. It was hot during the day. Couldn't stay in the room. It was brutal. And
so how did you spend your birthday?
My brother. Him and Gary walked in the streets in Newbury Street and the Grand Orange.
You were going into the galleries?
I was not really that familiar with Boston.
Newbury Street, that's where all the art galleries are.
Oh, we didn't do that. Trust me. Rusty took us somewhere, and we celebrated my birthday.
Well, I trust you had a good time.
Yeah.
Because the next day was a good day.
The next day was Lenny Dykstra, the home run to lead off that game off Oil Can, and then we were on our way.
Oil Can.
Change up to Feliciano, 0-1. Jesus has walked twice, flied out, grounded out, 0 for 2. Oil Can was fun to be around, but he talked a lot. Jones with the sliding grab. Goes to first, and just in time. Just waited too long to make up his mind. That's the second out as runners move to second and third.
Well, nice play here, knocking it down. Actually, he makes the play. I don't think he felt comfortable with that wrong foot forward to make the throw. And he switched gears. Nice hustle by Feliciano.
Now 2 in scoring position for Pagan, who is 2 for 4 on the night. He's stolen a base. He's scored a run. Arias at third and Reyes at second. John Russell's heading out to the mound. He's got 2 pitchers up in his bullpen.
Let me see.
Chan-Ho Park, the right-hander, and Justin Thomas, the left-hander. And it looks like it's going to bring in Thomas to turn Pagan around and make him a right-hand batter. So a pitching change in the 8th with the Mets up 4-2. Justin Thomas come into the game, and we'll be right back. Left-hander Justin Thomas, who started his career with the Seattle Mariners, comes on the pitch.
And just like Steven Jackson before him, this is his 4th stint with the big league club.
So Pagan will turn around to bat right-handed with 2 in scoring position. A chance to break the game open here in the 8th inning. Pagan, 354 this year with runners in scoring position, and he lines the first pitch into left center for a base hit, and that'll bring in 2. Arias and Reyes come home. Pagan racing for second. He's in with a 2-run double, and the Mets lead it 6-2. Pagan's third hit of the night. 67 runs batted in.
Little sinker away, went right out, got it. Nicely done. And Reyes didn't know how many outs there were, did he? Or he was afraid the ball was going to hit him. He didn't break home right away.
Well, good pop-up slide. This is Angel Pagan. New York Life, safe at second. Safe and secure, Keith. New York Life.
Splendid.
Now, though, intentionally walked David Wright to pitch to Ike Davis. How'd you feel about that, Ronnie? How'd you like your performance?
That's the first one I've heard all season.
I know.
It was pretty poor, very poor.
Would you like to get another opportunity?
You know what? I'm going to think about it tonight and sleep on it, and then tomorrow I'm going to be ready. I'm going to practice.
Bobby Parnell now getting ready in the bullpen. Now that the save chance is gone, I guess Takahashi, only being used in save opportunities these days, is sat down. Davis tonight, 1 for 2, a walk and a sacrifice fly. Mets were down 2-0 in this game. They scored 2 in the 4th to tie. Pelfrey's hit put them ahead in the 6th. Davis's sacrifice fly made it 4-2. And now Pagan's 2-out, 2-run double in the 8th has given the Mets a 4-run cushion. 2 aboard for Ike, and he takes the breaking ball away for ball 1.
Well, that's 2 nights in a row for Pagan. Last night, the hit that put them in front, and then tonight, the add-on runs.
3 hits. Adding to his 2010 legacy, putting together a splendid year. And when the story of this team is written, there's going to be a lot of negative things about performance and about things off the field. But 2 people who will stand out among all the others will be R.A. Dickey and Angel Pagan.
Agreed.
And what heartens you about that is not just that they've both had surprisingly good seasons, is that they both have had wonderful years as men.
Yeah.
And they have emerged as mature spokesmen in a positive way for a team that needed them badly. One-two to Davis, off the plate, 2-2. Chan-Ho Park staying busy in the Pirates bullpen. And Thomas misses. Full count to Davis with Josh Tolley on deck. Justin Thomas, the 6th Pirate pitcher of the night. Nobody out of that Pirate bullpen has been very successful since Charlie Morton left. 3-2, runners go, and Ike slaps one down to third. And Alvarez makes the play low, but Jones is able to dig it out. And Davis is retired to end the inning. But Angel Pagan's 2-run double puts the Mets in the clover. 6-2 New York after 8. SNY is brought to you by IOTV. Get the best in HD free with IOTV. By Hyundai, with quality that lets them offer America's best warranty, 10 years, 100,000 miles. By Toshiba. By Lexus. By New York Hospital Queens. By Suzuki and the amazing new Kazashi midsize sports sedan, Suzuki, the power of engineering. And by Bob's Discount Furniture, now open in Manhattan off the FDR Drive at 117th Street. Go to mybobs.com for details. Bobby Parnell pitches the 9th inning. Ronnie Cedeno fouls the first pitch back.
Bobby has a 0.64 ERA in his last 17 outings and entrusted with ending this series and getting the sweep for the Metropolitans.
Ronnie Cedeno down 4 runs in the 9th inning, swinging at a pitch out of the strike zone at the first pitch. Not good. Cedeno has an RBI triple tonight, and he takes inside 1-1. Well, Mike Pelfrey on the verge of securing his 15th win. The last Mets starter to win 15 was Johan Santana 2 years ago, when he got 16 wins in his first year as a Met.
16th win last year was about as fine a performance as I've ever seen. Trusted with a game he had to win on a bulky knee.
On 3 days rest.
On 3 days rest.
Second to last game ever played at Shea Stadium. I remember back-to-back years the Mets had sublime performances on the second to last day of the season. First by John Mayne in 07 and then by Santana in 08. It was the next day that was the problem.
They used up all their good karma on Saturday.
By the way, speaking of which, you see the schedule for next year?
Yes, I
The season doesn't end on a Sunday anymore. It's going to end on a Wednesday.
What happened?
Start on a Friday and end on a Wednesday.
Wow. Mets are opening up. They're closing up at home again.
Every year. I mean, how many years in a row is that? They finished at home in 06, right? 07, 08. Last year
and
this year.
That's part of that schedule for us and right in the middle.
Yeah.
Is that 4-day All-Star break.
Well, it's the second time I can ever remember the Mets having a 4-day break. That'll happen next year. 2-2 to Cedeno, and he lays off, and a full count.
I believe before the All-Star break, the last series is in San Francisco, so I could possibly have a week in San Francisco at home with my brother.
Sounds great.
Sounds wonderful.
You make it back by Friday?
I'll make it back.
3-2 to Cedeno. We're only looking 10 months ahead. Tejada throws out Cedeno for the first out in the 9th inning. Coming up right after we're done here, it's Lincoln Mercury post-game live. Chris and Bobby will have all the highlights, all the analysis, all the interviews, all the comments, all the statements, all the exultations, everything that you can imagine on Lincoln Mercury post-game live coming up right after the game. So keep it tuned. Brandon Moss will be the pinch hitter, batting for the pitcher. And he hits one in the air to left field, and Lucas Duda drifted back. 2 out. So Parnell's retired the first 2 with ease after Feliciano had a stellar 1-2-3 8th inning. And the Mets are 1 out away from a 4-game sweep. Ryan Doman up for the second time, flying to left field in the 7th inning. Last night the Mets came from 5 runs down to win. Tonight they were down 2-0 early. Jerry Manuel's team on the verge of going over 500 for the first time in September. A more meaningful game here tomorrow night with the Braves coming to town. Atlanta now 3 games behind Philadelphia. The Phillies will be home playing Washington. The Nats just beat the Braves 2 out of 3. John Neese against Tommy Hanson here tomorrow night. On the inside corner to Doman as he faded away, 1-1. Cardinals have gone up 4-0 on the Padres in the 7th. So San Diego's lead could be gone tonight. The Giants are down 1-0 to the Dodgers early on. Here's Henry Mejia, now out for the year. 2-1. By the way, Mejia's spot in the rotation doesn't have to be filled until the final week of the season because the Mets have 2 off days next week. Don't know who's going to get those spots. Could it be another chance for Oliver Perez?
Why not?
Ground ball to short, and Reyes is there. And the ball game is over. And the Mets, for the first time since 2003, have swept a 4-game series at home as they take 4 from the Pirates, winning tonight 6-2 as Mike Pelfrey secures his 15th victory of the season.
Yeah, congrats to Mike Pelfrey on that 15th win. Nice job by the bullpen with Feliciano and Parnell closing it up. And another big game offensively, although it came late, Keith.
Well, the Mets out-hit the Pirates 10-6. Pelfrey added in an RBI single. The big guys were Duda, though. 2 for 4. He broke that 1 for 32, whatever he had going. 2 RBI, 2 doubles. Tolle had 2 hits. Pagan, again, another big day. 3 for 5. 2 more RBIs for Mr. Pagan.
Best news for the Pirates was that Charlie Morton didn't lose. He went 5 innings, gave up 2 runs. It was the bullpen that gave it up for the Pirates as they fall to 50 games under 500 for the first time since 1953. The Mets now above 500, celebrating a sweep. We'll be right back.